so we can all be hot together.
Yay!
I don't think anybody's gonna have a lot of background. Well, that I wanted it out anyway. So, audience, you get to hear me get my dice out for once. It's been a couple sessions since I did that. Let's see. Go all the way to the top, though. And while I'm getting dice, I'll go ahead and say that this episode is brought to you by our patrons, like Iko Comics, Qua, Jerry Vasquez, Kylie Denton, Nestor Flores, and Soda-san 0424. And if you like what we do, you should consider supporting us on Patreon. Because that's cool. And
it is cool.
You can get stuff on Patreon. But not today, apparently, because I'm getting lots of, you know, what is it, 502 or whatever, the Cloudflare errors where it's like, oh shit, we can't find the servers, bro. I'm like, okay, thanks, guys.
That sounds like a
trying to upload audio, and it's like, whatchamacallit, it's like, oh shit, an error occurred, try again. I'm like, okay.
No.
That's not good. Oh, I've got a couple notifications, except I don't. I guess we're just falling apart down there, so not today, or at least not this afternoon.
Yeah.
Not today.
That's right.
I have my percentiles.
All right, well. So I'm gonna let everyone know right now. Wolfgang's XP expenditures. I actually didn't buy anything because I haven't decided what I want to spend my XP on.
Oh, is that what you guys were talking about while I was putting away my shirts?
We were just talking about spells and like new careers, and we're going over the new stuff you've talked about. Yeah. Like we saw Survivor and the Black Marketeer, and we're just like, whoa.
Yeah, I added a couple new ones.
Yeah, it's like I know Black Marketeer is in my sort of thing, but or someone sort of thing.
Like Survivor, like I feel like after a certain while, like if you've been at war for so long, you should probably just pick up Survivor.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's why it's there. You gotta be a certain level of tough, though.
Yeah, no, that's what I was like. I found that fair. I was like, yeah,
I already got 40 plus stuff. Also, was checking with this was like we were discussing the whole Inquisitor mass class. And I was wondering why it wasn't like the MP class career is connected to it or not.
Well, the thing about the reason why,
but that's probably one of those things that's like outside of their sort of jurisdiction, because this one is more like, oh, you want to go after things that are outside of the military.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna mention. It's like military police is directly connected to the military. Inquisitors, they probably have some in the military, but it could also be a quote unquote civilian job.
Yeah, the advanced careers basically represent you actually going after Maleficarum and stuff. Like you're actually doing the Inquisitor's job. You know how to do, witch finding and stuff. That's not necessarily that you do that as a normal criminal capacity.
Yeah.
Either. Like, that's you deal with hostile magic users. Is that enough damage?
I think the second one we talked about was the whole spell rushing. Like, was wondering how much can you actually rush spells in terms of, like, number of spells?
I basically said that you can probably rush
only a few number, because it's like, how long is the round? Like, 8 seconds?
Yeah, well, what I basically said is you could probably rush one spell, like, down each time. So you can, like, rush a half action into a free, and then a full action into a half. But, like, you can't really do any more than that.
Yeah, I was just thinking,
I suppose if you wanted to keep trying to rush to try and do a whole bunch of halves for free,
like,
that would have to be...
Like, more, like, cumulative, like, minuses. Like,
that would probably have to... Your counts would have to go up each time for rushing. You're trying to get more and more done in less time.
Like, trying to go from, like, -1 to -40 or something.
Yeah. I can have that.
And I was actually thinking that way on terms of spell rushing, because, like, hey, there's this sort of stuff. I think it would get more difficult because, hey, you're trying to rush this spell, you might mess up your word because you're thinking of a spell ahead of that one.
This is why you got Master the Tongue Twister, so you can get the skill high speed casting.
Yeah.
Amadeus does it.
Yep.
For my companion, though, I did, since we actually got the rules for it now, I bought Elemental Affinity X2. So, for 500 experience, she now has the next spells in the Witchery. Huzzah!
Right. As for me, I picked up Gravity Full Stun Rounds and Craft. But then I didn't buy anything for my companion.
Rip.
Because, hey, only 2 more XP, then I can buy something from the 500 and gain, probably going to get the deep buffs.
Make Raph make a potion every new session. Boom.
Yeah, 50 MC every sesh that refreshes.
Yeah, because you got the cash. Alright, so let me see. So,
what else? I need to actually write down Hildgard.
Half is a free, full is a half, but it's risky, minus 20 for the spell. So
she gets Shapewood, Ironwood, and Tank.
Ooh.
Nice.
Actually, Tangle one might be pretty heckin' useful, honestly.
Tangle's pretty good. There are only a few really, like non-lethal grapple spells. You can get one later if you ever go up further in metal to Hellion Chains.
Yeah, I remember.
That's a really, really hard to break grapple.
I
if you actually
remember
get
about the Tangle. I remember the last campaign that we did with Mage's War. I was going to pick up Tangle. I was all like, hey, I can Tangle someone and set that Tangle on fire.
Oh, God.
I was the fire mage who wants to blow things off everything up.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think
Shapewood, Ironwood,
and Shapewood is just a really great utility spell. And remember, because I did a lot of editing reads, so you might notice some small changes here and there to some stuff. I don't think anything big, but I was double reading. I read over all the companion actions, so there's a lovely list of all those. I know we sometimes forget our companions, but one of them is always cast a deadly spell. So
yep,
you can always use a companion action to be like, yo.
That was before I thought about hey, I didn't actually add any quirks to this companion.
Alright, so now there's a note under spellcasting. If your rushing goes up cumulative, so your second rush is at minus 40, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because you can only get so much done in a turn.
Yeah.
Let's see, was there anything else? Everybody read Rules and Customs of War.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's a new section I wrote. I don't think there's anything else. I should mention on Mike, since we're talking about updates, added 2 new spells to reinforcement, so that's a much more full tree. There's one so you can get magically Galaxy Brain types, because, I realized that Int was the only thing you couldn't sub with a spell, basically. Because you can buff your strength different ways, you can improve either your toughness or the stuff toughness derives, you can increase your ability to move, you can increase your strength or sub it with will. All kinds of stuff, damage. If you take, I think it's Trace, that lets you sub-will for what your normal skill is, so you can substitute your Warfare Melee or Warfare Ranged. You can also use other things to make your attack rolls with weapons better, either way. So basically, Thinky Brain stuff was the only thing you couldn't improve. So now you can take Ancient Wisdom, you can get a big buff on Int, and you can use it to double, basically, your natural healing and repair you can do for purposes of your Int mod. And then Ghost in the Machine is just, well, shit, I need another talent, otherwise it's not even, and there's no, there's no 500 XP, so it's a really good thing to do for, vehicle magic, and I'm like, oh, we'll just make it so you can, make it last longer. So, let's see, it's for a number of rounds, your vehicle treats its toughness and agility equal to your will, it ignores any penalty, so your handling doesn't get better unless it's worse. And your vehicle will continue to operate even if it's at 0 integrity, and it ignores all component damage. So your vehicle still works even if it's been blown up for a few seconds.
Those guys on those motorcycles probably wish they had that.
Yeah.
And I talked about this with Lucky. I don't know if Marth caught it yet because he only just got back, but just today I added a couple new entries to base buildings because I was thinking about stuff. One of them Lucky's super happy about. It's the greenhouse.
Yeah.
You can build a greenhouse to grow stuff. And the other was, I was thinking about it, now train station is there. So you get a railhead, you get a station to unload troops and cargo real fast. You got storage for your vehicles, and you can maintain basically 2 armored trains and some mobility units. It's not ore. Not that you guys have armored trains right now, but you could. You have trains, and Lucky and I were talking about this. You have mineral resources. You've got shit like iron, copper, precious metals, of course. All the shit they sent you here to defend.
Yeah, the problem is we don't have the people to deal with. We don't have the people to work it, and we can't go pulling people off the range.
Yeah, basically, what I figured is in war, you're probably at labor cap. Basically, everybody's who's here is working a job.
Yeah.
So you have your current level of production, because we're going to do our big brain trust meeting tonight. You'll hear a little bit of that from some of the people. But I figure you are probably at capacity for making stuff, which is everything that's not being shipped back to the homeland is you're making, that iron and copper is going into stuff like, bullets and mobility units and cars and shit. All your copper is going into jacketing for rounds, alloys, wires for electronic shit, all that stuff. And all your gold and your platinum and your diamonds are going in big tubs and hoping they find their way home, because somebody's got to pay for this shit.
One day I'll have mass teleportation, and maybe we can just start winging giant-ass fucking teleporters.
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, so basically, you and I talked about this a little, and it's like, well, you got a reporter. You need to maybe get with her and try and get her to, like, spin the story that the colony is a great place to be right now.
Well, honestly, like all things considered, this might just be in my Stahl pride streak, and I think our colony's doing fucking fantastic.
Well, you're doing pretty good. You're still here. Nobody's starved out yet. You don't have any riots or anything. You've actually done very good on the morale end. So
I actually like to think that we have a quite amendable relationship with the locals.
Yeah, none of the locals have decided that they'd be better off with the other guys rather than you. So
yeah. That's actually
you do know that some villages that were in the middle of the front were evacuated themselves, but theoretically, most of their stuff's still here, except for that one place where there was chimeras that you blew up, but they probably don't want to go back there.
No, probably not. But that's another thing I plan to address in my Hearts and Mind campaign. I might see about adjusting patrols so that I can have my men fly over villages and, stop in, see what's up, get the local news, see if they need help. Because this is what I was thinking about. If your local populace is indifferent about you, that means they're going to be indifferent about helping or harming you. So it can go either way. You actually have to put in some effort into getting them to like you. And if they like you, they're going to be more likely to, stay loyal and helpful to you. So I'm like...
Yeah, most of the locals are, like we discussed before, they're farmers and ranchers. So
yeah,
the dirt is still here. They can still farm and ranch. They don't necessarily care whose flag is flying. They have colonial agreements to be like, okay, you guys are in charge, you set the laws, you tax or whatever, probably a simple grain tax, you take whatever the chunk is for the colony so you can feed police and soldiers here, and they go about their business.
I'm gonna take on the my personal mantra of, noblesse oblige. We're the people in power. You give us stuff, so we need to make sure we turn that back into you.
And a lot of this was interesting to read, but this was actually one of the few German colonies that had positive growth. As in,
really? Germans
actually came here. It's because of the mineral wealth. Everybody wants to strike it rich, so there's gold and diamonds in these hills. So up to I think by 1914, I think again there was 9,000 just laborers moved here.
Okay.
So, yeah, you guys have a decent labor influx from the homeland, so those guys, your labor force in the cities and in the industrial sectors, those are actual Stahl peoples, and they've been here for some of them have been here for a couple decades. It's been as long as it's been around. So, that's pretty core. Those guys aren't going anywhere.
Yeah. But as I said, I'm more worried about getting, paving off the inevitable here.
I'm pretty sure mining is negative food. It's the opposite of food.
Yeah.
You're fucking up the land, and everybody working it needs to eat, so.
Mm-hmm. But, I don't know, we might go do some, I said, because we were talking about, attracting, if we can find out, because I do have treasure sense, and, I do like to fly around places. Mm-hmm. I can do some mineral prospecting. Maybe we can find a couple veins, open up a few mines, but at the same time, I'll be like, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta up our food production and shit. And this is also what comes into place of, Hearts and Mind campaigns. If I can set my scouts out to visiting local villages, we can, like we did for Prophet's Day, assist, bless their fields, assist them, if they got, injured or sick, and, just be general all helpful neighbors. If we increase their yield, that increases our tax at the same time.
So everybody gets more food, which is good because you're right in that growing season right now. Yeah, that's the beauty of being here. I'm fairly sure there's gonna be your your advertisements are going to be come visit sunny Stahl Alkebulan. It's still summer here. It's not the winter.
Stahl Alkebulan.
So speaking of new stuff, though, did you guys? There were a couple new things I added. I don't know if you guys caught them. They were buried in some places. There's a new weapon mod, Obsidian Edge.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Yes, I caught that.
So that
pretty much like,
makes your weapon sharper, better at dealing bleed, but way more fragile. Like, Razor Edge will damage yourself. You fuck up an Obsidian Edge, you fuck it up. You need to get a full replacement.
Obsidian is sharp but brittle.
Yep. It naps easily. It's unique. You can apply it to arrows. I should probably write a rule. I've been thinking about writing an explicit rule about how you can recover arrows from a bow most of the time, but we'll see if I have to write that explicitly. But yeah. And then the primary effect is, hey, guess what? It's made of earth. It's stone. That means wood and metal mages can't fuck with it. Which some mages will see as a plus. And then, kind of related to that, there was a new weapon I added to Exotic, which is the War Club, which is a catch-all for... This is not a trench club,
stick.
Which is like a billy club or like an improved piece of wood. The War Club is a hitting stick that was made to hit people with. It is explicitly made for warfare. It's, your Morning Stars, your Tetsubos, your many forms of indigenous spears, which are spiked or spined. I've noted if you put Obsidian Edge on it, it's basically the Macohatl, the Aztec Obsidian Edged club, which will fuck your shit up. So, it's real fun. I think it loses stun but gains crippling. You're not really gonna, bonk somebody in the head and daze them. You're gonna break their skull. So that's out there. That's super fun. Right. And I'm sure somebody will try and hit Wolfgang with one.
Good old Theodore resident sound. Speak softly and carry a big stick. You will go far.
Also, I think it's flexible, so you can one- or two-hand it, which is something you can't do with a Warhammer, because it's explicitly two-handed. So it's 1d10 plus 2 plus strength mods and pierce 2, and it's got knockback, crippling, flexible, and unwieldy. So not good for parrying, good for knocking a guy on his ass, will break his bones, and if you want to, you can double-hand it, which will mean you double your strength mod for damage, and you increase your critical damage, because you're using two hands to hit harder. Also, theoretically, if you wanted to, you could say that your War Club is just a baseball bat. That is about the shape of the thing we're looking at. Louisville Slugger. Okay, I think that's everything I thought of that's really new. I mean, because I added some other stuff, but it's mostly poison-related. I really need somebody to play a poison mage, because I realize I've written a shitload of rules for toxic stuff that nobody here will touch with a 10-foot pole, so...
I'm planning on getting, the Venom rounds eventually.
I said, maybe next time we play sub-mages, maybe I'll be more of an evil character, and I'll play, a water poison mage or something.
I might play poison. Just straight-up poison.
Because they have a lot of fun toys. Anyway, okay, I think that's everything we need to care about. Let's go ahead and jump on into it. Let's see, how long we've been faffing about for? A little under 20 minutes. Alright. So,
I think it was some solid faffing.
No, it's good. We're doing the intro stuff. We spent XP, we talked about new stuff in the game. Okay. So, it's the day of the operation. You guys come back home. Being stern military men and ladies sometimes, you probably don't immediately kip off to take a nap, but everybody's got light duty the rest of the day. They gotta dump all their shit in the quartermasters.
And so we gotta bring back everything, make sure that everything that we brought back is inventoried. Everyone needs to do checkup. The air rifles and recovery needs to do equipment checks. Their commanders need to write reports. I need to write reports.
Yeah, so basically everybody's on light duty for the rest of the day. It's like, all right,
yeah,
we're here. Nobody go to bed, but everybody get a shower. Then everybody check your gear, get all your sand out of it, and then we're doing inventory. There's, you dump your bags, you put it on pallets, you start tallying up.
Yep.
When you get into your office, Captain, you have a couple of little notes. The first is a correction from the Major. Basically, she's heard that this meeting she told you about when you got back is apparently going to be a little bit bigger. You're going to go down to the governor's mansion, his governor's residence, which is also his office, basically.
Oh.
early afternoon, probably late afternoon in a couple of days. Apparently, it's going to be a big regimental meeting, so you're going to have to tell all your officers and senior NCOs and mission specialists because they're all coming. Apparently everybody's rolling out in force.
Okay.
So there's that, and the second is just a friendly note from your friendly neighborhood war correspondent, good old Miss Wedekund, which is just basically asking your permission to grab some of your guys and do field interviews on previous missions and stuff. Her handwriting is excellent.
Oh.
So
let's see here. I guess I'll pencil a quick note to the major. I'll say, yep, and got it. Confirmed. Everyone will be fucking spick and span. And I'll write another note to our good old war correspondent, and I'll attach the film of the hecking picture we took out on the mission before.
Nice.
So she can have that.
Okay, she'll have that
and
to develop it. You grab an unfortunate scrub and are like, "Hey, deliver this for me."
Mm-hmm. I got reports to write, man.
No. Well, I mean, that's what you do. Chain of command. Shit rolls downhill. Hey, you soldier, deliver this for me. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's just like, find those scrub to deliver. It's like...
Yeah, so unless you're gonna... I assume you can write reports, so unless you're gonna spice this up somehow, I don't think you... No, you return the periscope and the camo netting didn't get damaged, so you can return that just fine.
Yeah, actually... How much, like, I never really considered this, but how much flack do you think, like, Command gives me for, like, letting enemy soldiers just up and fucking leave? Do you think I get any flack for that?
Not really. You don't. Here's the thing. So technically, on the one hand, there's the strategic of, like, you have heard some grumblings from people, like Major Mustache, about your unit's habit of just letting enemy soldiers walk away. However, I would like... The practical side is, y'all are mages, one, and... You know for a fact you are in a supply crunch right now. Mm-hmm. So extra mouths is extra mouths. So nobody's gonna call you on your shit. And as we've discussed with the rules of war, well, they surrendered. So it's not like you can shoot them in the desert. You're not supposed to do that.
Okay.
So
I was about to say, if I have to start like defending myself on letting people live, I was figuring I might have to put a little effort into that, but no.
No, and the other thing, remember, is if you take mages as prisoners of war, those are ransom. That'll be a prisoner trade or a payout. So
yeah,
that's an actual plus. They're okay with that. If you dragged, they'd probably ask you questions about how committed you are to this war. If you dragged, what was it, like another dozen guys with you, vehicle crewmen. They're like, why did you do this? First of all, why did you waste your weight limit hauling these guys? But second of all, what the fuck are we going to do with them? Why are they here? They don't know anything. They're truck drivers.
Yeah.
The enemy will find more men to drive trucks. What matters is the enemy now has 5 less trucks and a lot less food and water and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And bullets that were on those trucks.
Well, we couldn't use them, but neither can they.
So yeah, honestly, you guys did a bang-up job.
Okay.
I don't think between you guys hardly used half a mag of ammo.
I still gotta buy a new fucking...
Your rifleman...
Alright, used up.
Well, yeah, you dumped revolver rounds, but those are small, so...
I still have, like, one more set of AP rounds per revolver.
I'm pretty sure once I combine the rounds I shot from my regular rounds and my explosive rounds, I only have, like, one full load left.
But yeah, so you didn't use a lot of ammo, and you don't have to worry about the pricing on a lot of that. So the primary resource concern would be how much shit do you bring back? Well, you brought back lots of shit, so
yay!
Mission success as far as anybody's concerned. There are less trucks, you have more stuff. It's all good. So you can just write reports, is what I'm saying. Other than that, you have basically, you've got a couple of days to get your thoughts in order. I know you guys are planning on working on some projects, so we can actually get some rolls started if you're going to work on stuff.
Yeah. So here's a question I wanted to ask about making masterwork gear. It says 10 minus degrees of success. Now, does that have to be I have to work on that straight, or can I break up that time?
No, you can break that up. That's how many days before the project is finished. You don't have to work on anything straight.
Okay, cool.
It just means that if you rolled 6 days, for instance, and 3 days later you got to go and do something, your shit's not ready.
Yeah. Right. Okay, fair. All right, cool. So, I'm gonna finish writing reports. I don't think I need anything, but I'm gonna get straight fucking to it, and I'm gonna go take my fucking honking heap of scrap metal I gathered, and I'm gonna start working on it.
All right. Oh, you got materials, so.
But even if I gather my own materials, I still have to pay the half cost, right?
I think the half cost is for materials. So you've covered materials and labor. So I think you just need to make the roll to see if it works, because if you fuck up the roll, well, then your materials are lost.
Yeah, that's what made it decide for me, because I had the materials.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So it's just the roll that matters.
All right. Well, I'm gonna spend a point of luck to begin with.
And also, we double checked this earlier. You guys have a manufactory, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a plus 10 on craft and mechanics tests to build items.
Okay.
Assuming you're gonna go work in the fab shop.
Yeah.
I don't see where else you would work.
So, yes. And I forget. Artisan tools just let me work. I gotta double check it. Give me a bonus. Fuck.
I believe it gives you a plus 10 for whatever they're for.
Artisan.
Yeah.
So
what did you buy them for?
Oh, I have them for metalworking. I have a set for metalworking specifically.
Yeah. And that'll, I believe, give you a bonus.
Yeah, so that's okay. Luck plus 20, manufacturing. That's a plus 50. Let me check my modifier. I'm not gonna run. Well, actually, hang on.
Right.
There are modifiers for, like taking your time, but there's also like modifiers for trying to do a job quickly.
Yeah.
Like how would that affect like building items?
Let's see. What's the actual penalty for that? Let me look at the making a test here. We got right at the top. Sample test modifiers. Rest or press for time is it's a minus 20.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. I don't know. Maybe probably half time. When you're done, you're trying to get it done half as fast or half as long.
Oh, okay.
Twice as fast.
I think I'll try to rush it then.
All right.
So let's see here. So I was up to plus 50. Now
it is 1d10 days and then minus your DOS. So
yeah. So let's.
I think it's a minimum 1 day still.
Yeah. Oh, 16. Wait. What is craft space?
Int.
So plus 30. Wait, no. Yeah, 30. Actually, let me make sure I type this shit. Because you actually did mention that, how, like, you preferred how to type things out.
Well, yeah, just so I can reference it. Because if you say it out loud, I'll forget it in 5 minutes.
Yeah. So that is good old calculator time. 73 minus 15. That is 5 degrees of success.
Alright. Do you want me to roll the d10?
Yes.
So that's 8. So that'll be minus 5 first. So that's 3. So if you have that then for rushing, that's about a day and a half.
Okay. Well, I've only started on a half day right now, so I'll count this as my fucking half.
Yeah, this counts as your half day, and then by the end of business hours tomorrow, you'll be done. And what are you actually working on right now?
Oh, my Masterwork Tower Shield.
Alright. So you fire up the forges, and you probably spend most of your day basically melting down this scrap, cycling it, double-checking the alloy. You're a metal mage. You know fucking shit about metal, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just working it all down, and yeah. So you've got the product cooking. You'll be ready to, bang it out, reinforce it tomorrow.
Yep.
Cast it.
But that's going to be the rest of my day.
All right. Well, in that case, Ulrich, do you have any projects for the day?
Projects for the day that are on days. Probably looking into just like trying to make my own ammo.
All right. Here's that's the wrong doc. Wrong book. What am I looking for? So, hand loading is, depending on what you're doing, is craft or mechanics. Depending on what tools you're using.
Oh, right. Is both craft or mechanics?
It's either, depending on what tools you're using. If you're... you have access to either in the machine shop, so it'd basically be what you know more about, because I was doing my research, and it's, on the one hand, I put it as mechanics because that's like actually a thing reinforced by other rules. But also it could just be craft, which is just, hey, do you know how to, pour gunpowder and reset a bullet? It's not like it's mechanically complex.
Yeah.
Hey, you can engrave your bullets. Why the fuck not? That's craft.
Yeah. There's probably a whole just for not doing. I think
engrave judgment on all your bullets. Let's get super edgelord here.
Yeah, probably just engraving just like probably just engrave sigil that means justice on the bullets.
Justice.
Yeah. But yeah, so that'll each test to make it take 6 hours and appropriate materials. You're at base, you have a manufactory, so you've got materials.
Yeah, I'm just using craft here.
Alright, so that's normally a -10 craft test, but if you use the manufactory, that'll add you a +10 at least, so
that just evens things out.
And what type of ammo are you gonna make?
Right, what? I think just like regular ammo. Actually, wait, what ammo? What could I make? I mean, I would just get regular ammo anyways during the whole thing, but that's only going to be for at least one. But, need to think about that. And this is going to be for my revolver, so.
Yep.
I guess Wildcat?
Sure.
Those are good rounds.
You're the one loading them.
Because, like, yeah. So that's going to be just like a straight up craft test since the bonuses and penalties cancel each other out.
Unless you have something else that will improve your crafting.
I don't think so.
Okay. No, go
I don't have arson tools yet for bullets.
Well, roll.
Okay, time to roll. What is my int? Not that one. Go over there. Okay, so my int is 40. I think I have a good enough shot.
Oh, that's right. I spent the point of luck. Mark that.
So, let's see. So max degrees of success would be 4.
Yeah.
That means you make 4 reloads of Wildcat bullets.
Yay!
That's a lot of bullets, yo.
Hey, well, that helps for 4 reloads, so that's going to be 2 each for each
2
of
each.
the revolvers. So. But still, that's good. That's good.
Yep. And so if you guys, by the way, you guys are in the same place if you wanted to do any role-playing stuff. Work in the forge, work in the lair.
I don't know, you're not trained assistants, but I'm definitely gonna ask you to help me like steady this fucking hunk of metal as I hammer into it.
I can probably just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are busy with your own stuff, but you both have craft then, obviously, so.
Yeah. But, I'm definitely gonna be curious, like, what kind of rounds are these Wildcat rounds? Like, I am not wise in the way of bullets.
Yeah, they are Wildcat. They're made for
I could read the description right out of the book. Wildcat cartridges are custom modified, produced by sports shooters and hobby gunsmiths to improve performance in specific areas. They tend to be higher power or efficiency, but can only be acquired directly from a specialist or made via hand loading. So basically, these are gun nerd bullets. You're like, oh, I really like the 380 round, but the muzzle velocity is just a little slow. I want it to be faster. You're like, okay, we'll put a little more powder in there. Or you're like, oh, or we'll neck it down a little so that it's a smaller cartridge in the same bullet size kind of stuff. Not quite magnuming, but you're playing with the pressure of the round.
Stats are pretty much +1 to damage, +1 to pierce, and +10% max range.
Wait, what kind of rounds were you using to shoot the mages and the motorcycle?
Ammo piercing, which are -1 damage, +2 pierced.
Yeah, he was just using AP.
Yeah, just AP.
I'm sorry, Wolfgang is kind of giving you this kind of semi-incredulous look of, well, like, why do you need so much power in your revolvers? But then he looks at this giant fucking shield he's making, and I'm like, do I really have the space to talk about weird-ass objects that I use?
I'm just, like, looking at the shield. It's like, well, you need to protect yourself. I'm your sword.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll give you, like, a hearty clap on the shoulder. It's like, no, can't. I can't fault that.
Can't argue.
Anyway.
Right. But yeah, so, if anybody's wondering...
That does remind me. Ulrich, how's your dress uniform looking recently?
Oh, dress,
yeah.
It needs to probably go into the wash. Or do I even have one?
Everybody's got a set of dress.
Yeah, we just don't use it.
A dress or parade uniform, basically. You have something for fencing. You graduated in something.
Yeah,
I think it just needs to be gone clean. I'll get to it today.
Yeah, make sure, as I said, if you have the time, make sure your uniform is cleaned and pressed, and make sure your medals are shiny. In a few days, we're going to be visiting the governor's mansion for a meeting.
Oh, right.
I want to say.
A powwow.
Right, on top of that, I do have that old excellence and magic thing. Now,
did you actually finish that?
I got Gravitic Pull, so I have every Earth spell.
Actually, that means I'll probably like send a letter to like some sort of mage association.
Yeah.
And get you sorted out with that.
Go up.
You probably have the medal by the what?
I said, go up the chain of command. Fire that letter off.
Yep, I'll fire that medal off, and I'll see if I can get it rushed so you can have that nice medal to display out among all the big wigs. Trust me, as I said, they're gonna. If we're gonna want to make our make what we say wait, we're gonna need all the exile that we can.
Yes.
As I said, I'll pass the word to the other officers and COs, but since you're here, I might as well want to let you know.
Yep.
Okay.
Alright. Oh, and would you tell Old Man Raph for me too?
Will do.
Thank you.
He'll probably grumble
somewhere,
about
somewhere the Corman grumbles because he's getting too old for this shit. Making him do.
It was like,
I really like calling. I'm sorry, but I really do like calling him Old Man Raph. Even if he wasn't old to begin with, now he is.
Well, I mean, we can take mentors. So.
Why do I need to wear this uniform? I just want to wear my old uniform.
Like, but alright, but I guess that would be our day.
Scruffy gonna die like Scruffy lived.
If I had my day, I would just be all scruffy.
All right.
Okay.
Day passes. The rest of your day passes. Actually, now that I think about it, I really should have made you guys roll post-mission fatigue to see if you did shittier on those. But you guys successed really well, so I don't think it matters.
Again, this reminds me I need to buy more officer talent. That Stay Frosty one probably.
Yeah, the nice. Plus 20. That's pretty good. You guys are already pretty good at toughness. So, but yeah. So tonight you rest up. Evening mess. Everybody goes back. So, Wolfgang is basically busy all day. Actually, while I'm at it though, let's see. You sent some stuff, so that's in. Excuse me, reporter. Got some big brains from some academics. That's 02. That is a wonderfully developed photograph.
Oh,
it's real good. So yeah, that's the day passes. The war correspondent gets out there. She does her stuff, and boom, you've got a lovely kept the negative so she can do more printings, but you've got a lovely fully printed photo you can put in a frame in your office, maybe of you guys all standing around one of the trucks, all thumbs up and smiles.
Yeah, these are my good men and women.
Everybody looking alive.
Nice.
So she will probably be busy all day talking to other people, since clearly you're busy.
Hell yeah, I am. I mean, I'm probably literally in this workshop, fucking shirtless, like sweating over Ford. If he wants to snap a picture of that, go by all means. I'm pretty sure there's some German mage monthly calendar out there or something.
Yeah, nah, she probably didn't bust the photographer all the way down here, because she's supposed to be doing interviews today. So, sadly, the opportunity this time passes. Maybe another time. I have a sneaking suspicion that you will probably be doing this again sometime.
Yeah, I have a armored cloak to make next. Masterwork armored cloak.
You know, constantly getting your Iron Man on.
Tunk, yeah!
Tunk. Actually, that's a good question. You know, you were in office part of yesterday, and obviously you probably, wake up to morning briefing today. So is there anything you want to do about the duty roster today, Captain? Or is it just, all right, everybody go back to work?
All right, so we're gonna assume normal patrols today, but I'm gonna change up the patrol routes to be something a little different. As I said, I'm basically gonna assign the patrols to fly over local villages and with instructions to make stops and inquiries of recent news and difficulties that they may have. Also, I'll try to fix the duty rosters to include, maybe wood and earth mages in every set, so maybe they can give a field a blessing to their fields.
All right,
as a measure of goodwill and neighborly goodwill.
All right.
And I said, like, if they prosper, we prosper, and if we prosper, they will prosper.
All right. Well, at the moment, there's nobody to stop you, so you get the duty roster you want.
Hell yeah. I'm good at what I do. Other than that...
Well, and also at the moment, there's nobody to oppose, so there's not really, like, what happens if you fuck up. No, the roster works out, and there's no real risk to anybody at the moment just running patrols.
Yeah. So I said, this is part of the Hearts of Mine campaign.
Alright, so that's done.
Actually, that does...
Your recovery unit is probably still in office basically all day because... Well, they're the ones with the supplies, so, like, run an inventory. We got, 300 rolls of bandages. We got 100 ration tins. Got 100 canteens.
We do have a pioneers platoon here. They're just not under my command.
Nope. They're part of your sister squadron. That would mean you'd have to go through their CO.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, I'm offendable with... Actually, this is why I wrote down fucking names. Where is she? With, Oh, wait, maybe I didn't write down. God damn it! Whatever. With the Grim Reaper over there, but I don't know. Oh, wait, no, there it is. Marie Bretz. I did write down.
No, that's your recovery platoon, Lieutenant.
Oh, yep. God, okay, hang on. I gotta fucking...
Do you need me to screen cap this in image form? Because
no,
I have your whole fucking org tree.
Maybe, not right now. But I'll just go on, but... It's like, I'm offendable with her, but as I said, after seeing that performance at the fucking fort, it's really hard for me to kind of approach her. Anyone who goes running gleefully, breathing fire and burning men alive, I don't know if I can fully get along with. But if I want to get something built around here, the Pioneers is the one to go to.
Yep.
And I don't want to have to... I don't know, I'll mull that over for another day.
Well, I mean, hey, this is... Well, it's not real life, but... There's still real life stuff afoot. There is always the backdoor in office politics, but you are not necessarily that guy. So
no. So I don't know. I will pen a note to
the other thing you could do that would technically not be sneaky, but might people not enjoy is you could also. Chain of command. You could go over her head.
No, I was thinking about that. I'm like, no. As I said, like...
That, yeah. Let's, undercutting her with her own officers, because the platoon, the Pioneer platoon commander, he used to be one of your coworkers, basically. He was one of your fellow lieutenants, and you got promoted out. So...
As I said, that's why I feel like if I can get the permission, he'll be on board with it, but, like, he's still technically underneath someone else's command.
Like we said, mages, sometimes you play a little fast and loose with your orgs and stuff. So, like, he could do you a favor, but that would still mean he would be basically fixing his duty roster, but, well, he's not 100% in charge, so that could have complications.
I'm going to do this kind of fast and loose in my own way. I'm just going to send a note to the sister platoon command officer, just be like, hey, I want to borrow the Pioneers for a little bit to underdo some base projects. Hit me up if you're interested. If you'd be willing or interested in details.
Alright.
I'm gonna use much more polite language than that, but
Sure.
Lucky doesn't do polite language.
Fuck it. Make me an appeal test then.
Oh shit. Okay.
Roll dice.
Let's
That's when I'm not sure of the outcome. That's as good a reason as any.
Yep. All right. So I rolled a 32, but let me see here. I got a shiny medal, getting plus 20. She is not lower ranked than me.
Nope.
But I do have a plus 10 to appeal. I have anything else that makes me real good at the appeal? No, I don't.
No, I think you're just really good at it.
Yeah. As I said, this is what I originally built my character to do.
And now we're only just now getting to that part. It took a while, but here we are, right in your wheelhouse.
You know what I had to do? I had to build up my I had to build up my connections and my reputation in game.
Right, people
Which I
had to
think is
learn to
kinda
take you seriously.
Mm-hmm. So let's see.
Now they're
Charisma.
like, this Wolfgang guy, he's for real.
I am for real.
You are probably one of the realest people in this unit. You know, after the major who made ace in a day, you know, you are one of the realest there is.
All right, so 3 to us on my appeal.
All right.
So it'd be like, hey, let me borrow you guys so we can build a fucking greenhouse. I'm not gonna save that in the later, but that's what I totally went on borrowing them for.
But yeah, you're phrasing it as like, hey, I have a project around the base I want to work on. I need to borrow the Pioneers for. If you're okay with this, give me a holler. All right. Well, hey, because this is the perfect scene setting, and I don't think Marth is back. He hasn't said he's back anyway. Nope, I'm gonna call that a no. So we're gonna continue the role playing with. We'll just set the scene right here. You're in the workshop. You're in the fab shop. You're banging the steel. Clang, clang. You know, you're shaping that tower shield.
Mm-hmm.
This big, 6 foot tall block of steel you've made from scrap steel, basically reforged. And just the fab shop is probably where a decent number of your own, like we said, recovery and supply guys hang out, fixing stuff.
This is probably where they come to bring like repair tools and stuff. So.
Yeah, you're on base, not necessarily in your unit, but lots of on base, quarter staff and logistics and stuff. So you've got people back there like clean, a couple of rifles being broken down and cleaned because they got sand in them.
Mm-hmm.
Some asshole got sand all in one of his mobility unit boots.
No.
Back.
Oh,
All right, now
welcome
back,
buddy.
So you're clanging away, and Captain Grimhildebrandt, everybody's favorite eye patch lady, scoots on in, and she just comes in. You're the same rank, so there's no need to salute. There's, the guys make sure to give her a nod or like a half salute when they see her, but it's not like CO on deck, so it's just like, yeah, okay, you're here. We're mages, we can be a little fast and loose, and she, kind of notes what you're doing and says, Captain Schmidt, got your note? Kind of folds her arms and says, so, he kind of looks at your work there. You're a very industrious man, Captain.
I'll put down the steel, mop some sweat off my brow. And it's all like, well, as I said, unfortunately, giant steel shields is not something you can readily act the quartermaster for, so, a bit of scrap and a bit of hard work, and I'll get the job done. But that's not what you came here for.
Nodding.
So, Captain, as I did say in my notes, I do wish to borrow the Pioneers to construct a building here on base. More specifically, a greenhouse.
She's kind of nodding. It's not really my area of expertise, but most of those are they're of a more technical sort. You have a piece of land, permissions and all that to use.
As I said, one of my personal goals has been working toward a more self-sufficient base and colony, and I believe that growing our own foodstuffs and possibly more exotic, herbs and myself be a good step towards that. Sorry, I just fucking stubbed my toe and it kind of hurt. Oh God.
Yeah, that'll hurt you. Don't bonk your toe.
That hurts.
Yes.
Okay.
So she kind of nods and says, well, not my discipline, but everybody has to eat. Everybody knows your reputation now. A man who brings the food. I'm sure you'd love to keep that up. And I'm sure the pioneers will love to do a good deed. She kind of, claps you on the shoulder and says, I'll admit that your sister squadron does not get as much action in latest takes as we'd like. So I'm sure I can find some duty cycles for them to do where they'll do the work. Otherwise, it's mostly artillery drills and... Oh no, alas, our road has washed out or broken down. Can you please send some lovely mages to come fix it? It's a little dull.
I would appreciate this. I would take it as a favor.
Alright. Well, I'll keep you in mind if I ever need anything from the flying squadron.
Indeed.
You have a nice day, Captain.
You as well.
I'll tell Lieutenant Secret to come see you when he's free. And, she goes about her business.
All right. See, now we're getting to a little bit of the politicking favor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and if you have empathy, you could roll that to kind of read her response there.
Yeah, I will.
It's not going to be opposed. She's a fire mage. She's not really hiding her feelings.
I rolled an 11 out of what? Intelligence? What is it?
Empathy's per, I believe.
Per, well, that's still 2 degrees of success.
Yeah, so, she doesn't say it in so many words, but you obviously pick up the impression. She's a war mage first and foremost. She was a artillery, platoon commander before. She's still got an artillery platoon under her, and some other, that one of her groups is called the experimental weapons platoon. So, a lot of her guys are sitting around holding their dicks, basically, because they blow stuff up real good. There's nothing to blow up right now.
Honestly, if eating goes the way I want it to, stuff to fucking blow up.
Yeah, the last big mission you did was after the holiday, where that was pretty good. They got to mobilize in force. They shot some shit. They demined some mines, but you guys were still the guys who had to do the actual work and, bomb the hangars and stuff. So, that's basically, is she just saying, okay, they're not doing anything, so they'll help you out with this, but just, keep us in your mind when you're thinking about missions in the future, because we're here and our job is to blow stuff up, so.
I think I can actually probably do that. If she actually wants to get out into the field a bit, I don't know.
Yeah, basically what she's saying is that her guys don't have anything to do. They're artillery and heavy weapons guys. They're all ground mages. They're high speed enough that theoretically they can run ground patrols, but mostly it's just you need, because we talked about this with the effect that mages can get a lot more labor done with smaller amount of guys. So it's okay, I need 5 or 6 guys out of my whole platoon's worth of engineers to go fix a bridge, fix a road, a wild animal walked into the fucking minefield, now we've got to replace a few mines. So, and she sends maybe another 6 guys to escort those guys while they work. Thus, most of her guys are basically on limited duty because the way the conditions are right now. So yeah, she could use some work, basically.
I'll definitely keep that in mind for the next op.
Your impression of her is not necessarily that she's not like Major Mustache himself. She's not a glory hound, but she is a frontline fighter first and foremost. She wants to be on the front lines fighting somewhere. And
next time I need a distraction, maybe I'll ask her to go shell something. I don't know.
And if you want to remember who was with her, the platoon, the Pioneer platoon's commanded by Joachim Siekert, you worked with him before. You know him. He's an Earth mage. He's a teacherly type. He was part of an engineering college probably, or a teacher at an academy before he decided to volunteer for military service, and that's why he got promoted. And here, I'll take a picture. I got I got your org chart. It's probably easier to just
name org chart.
reference the cutout. The problem why I can't just link you to that is because it's in my campaign doc, which has all my secret notes. But
being an officer is hard, yo. I have to remember people.
That's honestly, that's why if we run into NPCs tonight, most of them are just going to have descriptions and nicknames and then or ranks, and if they matter, I can give them a name later. But if you don't care about this person and you're not going to talk to them ever again, it's just they're that guy. So yeah, this is your complete org chart.
This.
You are you're part of the 9th Eisenblitz, the Iron Blood Colonial Company, which is 150 guys. There's your major as your company commander, her XO. You are 1st Provisional Flying Corps Squadron, aka Skywolves. You're about 75 guys. There's you. There's your 3 platoons. And then the 9th Stahl Alkebulan Dragoon Squadron, which is called Grimm's Brands. And then they're under her. And so you know what her platoon commanders are like. Her artillery platoon guy is actually pretty okay. He's a water mage with a diplomatic bent. So you know him to be pretty fair and reasonable. He was probably her XO before she got promoted, so you know he's the blue to her red. And then there's the fire length platoon. So that guy's another fire mage. You know he's a little of a reckless sort. You know, always out and about. You probably have heard stories of him. You know, playing a little bit of the magia in the officers' club kind of stuff, but not enough for you to care anyway.
Wait, did this happen on the half day or on the second day?
This is the 2nd day.
Okay. Well, I'm stuck in the forge anyway.
Yeah.
Before I get fully invested though, I want to take an hour and study my runestone.
Okay, sure. Well, I mean, you just rested a full night, so you have all your luck points back.
Oh yeah, it's resting, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's anytime you get a full night's of rest.
Oh, okay.
All right, so Ulrich, you basically have a free day because you're the commander's gopher. You're his senior NCO, and he's in a forge today.
Yep. Duty roster's been set. Everyone's doing what they're had to do. Recovery and supports. Actually, yeah, if they're still doing inventory, they ain't gonna fucking bother them.
Okay.
Scouts are out scouting. There's probably half the air rifles in. I'll probably have the rest of the air rifles hecking on base patrol or something.
Base duty. You stand here and look like you're doing something important.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody gives you any
You don't
shit,
have
you give him shit right back.
Oh yeah. After we get this greenhouse built, fuck. We need walls and watchtower. I want walls and watchtowers. God damn it. Shake fist.
Hey, they're on a list somewhere just for that purpose.
Yeah. Well, as I said, greenhouse first, and who knows? Maybe I'll keep borrowing the platoon. I don't know. I guess Mike. I don't know. Greenhouse.
Hey, I mean, at the moment, so long as she doesn't need them to do pioneer work, which would be really fucking important if she needs to disarm a minefield or undermine a fortification, the pioneers aren't doing a lot. Yeah, conversely, however, you've run into 2 or 3 minefields and a couple of forts in your time, so your previously the pioneer unit has been very busy, and they have been right out on the end of things. So honestly, they probably appreciate just, hey yo, can you build a greenhouse? Can we build a fucking greenhouse? You know, how big you want it? I can build the Crystal Palace. Big. We're not doing anything. Is it gonna explode? Right. No? Great. Oh, I'm gonna get some glass in my eye. Oh, well, why?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I guess in future reference, I'll just send a note. Hey, can your fucking guys build a thing from here to here? Thanks, bye. Enclosed gift. I don't know.
But alrighty then. So we were talking about if Ulrich has any plans for the day.
Sorry, Ulrich, what you doing today?
What? I'm just trying to think about this.
I have to go do something with you, but I said my day's taken up.
Yeah, I know there's that. I'm just trying to think about outside of character, I know that Wolfgang. No, you were planning on trying to mess with ley lines.
Yeah, actually,
I could try to locate a ley line that you
actually, yeah, that's actually something. If you don't mind me giving you a hecking order.
Yeah, I don't mind. He's all about following orders.
I want you to go take a ley line map, and I want you to go out and investigate the local ley lines, see if any shifted, and which ones are pretty big and close.
Okay, I will do it. I also have the mana compass, so I can use that.
Yeah. As I said, because that is something I plan on doing. But yeah, if you go out, basically fly around, I'll make it an actual fucking order too, so no one can like question your shit. But go out, take a because leyline maps is something that we actually have, right? Something that gets charted in once in a while. Well, even if we don't, you're gonna go fucking make one.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, the local area around the base.
Yeah, local area around the base. Also see if you can map that Earth ley line that goes underneath the fort where the Earth Spirit resides. There might be some.
He was slewing like that will be done as best as I can possibly do it, sir.
Take your time. Make sure you bring it back up core. You might be out there for a while.
Yeah, I was about to say this is going to be quite a day's worth of work. If you can fly around pretty fast, and you don't have to slow down for slow pokes.
Yeah.
I do have a spare core. Plus, I have mana battery, so I can recharge my cores.
Okay. And,
all right. So what do you think about getting done? Well, either way, it's going to be you're making a map, so that'll be a navigation test. So what are you looking at first? Are you mapping the base or the fort first? Basically.
I think I'm mapping the fort first to start with the Earth ley line.
All right. I won't make you roll anything to get there. You know where you're going, so.
Okay.
Now some of the guys on the ground probably are like, what ho there, mage? What you doing? And you're like, doing work. And they're like, okay, we can't really ask questions. You're doing mage stuff that's outside of our expertise, so.
Right. I'll just be like, at ease.
I'm pretty sure you have like some radio call sign if you like do flying over space.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, make me a navigation test first, and
your
whatever the mana compass bonus is. Yeah,
I do have my map making kit.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what it's for.
You're gonna make a map, and like I said, whatever your mana compass bonus would be.
Okay, that is per. Okay. That's 46. That's map making. Kit do anything? Probably not. No, that's not it. Go. Okay, so map making kit actually does give me a plus 10 on making a map.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to be a 56. Then I have to get on there. Okay. So I got 4 degrees of success.
Alright, well, you've made a very, very good map. So, you start following your, following your lines. Basically, you're drawing a straight line through mana concentration. You can follow it up. You get a couple lines. Important thing to remember is that geniuses really only form on nexuses or confluxes.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
You're basically getting a map of several Earth lines which all intersect through this point and flow out of here. So one of them probably flows somewhere northish up into your territory. A couple more flow south or eastish into enemy territory, and then probably dead end at the sea somewhere where there's like a beach or something eroding. One of them probably passes up into the desert, but you get a decent map without me needing to go into too much specifics. And so you've kind of you see where the conflux is. You can see where the origin lines are, which will help you if you wanted to find further ley lines, or if you wanted to just be like, oh, I want to make sure I don't accidentally cut off a ley line into this place, which is I think what Lucky's going for. That will let's see, how many degrees did you get on that? 4.
4.
Honestly, with the mana compass, it probably doesn't take you that long. It probably took you longer to fly out there, but that's still probably most of your morning. So you probably want to fly back to base for noontime meal. Maybe submit your map. And then go about your business. Okay. Flexing. Stretching my shoulders. Alright, so you want to be about the base then, right?
Yeah.
Alright, well, make navigation again. With your bonuses.
Okay.
Sweet, sweet bonuses.
Everybody loves bonuses.
Shit, now I have this Masterwork medium shield. What do I do?
Sell it.
Yes, I should.
What's the increase on masterwork?
Let me check. Masterwork. Masterwork item. Let's see. Master armor.
Okay, so 3 DOS.
Yep. Gotcha. All right,
doesn't
so
say the masterwork item doesn't.
All right, hold on. Now I'm looking at stuff.
Masterwork is Kane. It says it 5 times in its own list.
Masterwork item. It's directly below arcane, so it's plus 100 MC.
Oh.
Yeah. So what were the?
Oh, and it's scarce. Herpader.
Yep. Right there. Scarcity. You cannot just scare up a masterwork.
Nope.
Yep.
So if you wanted to sell something, you got to do commerce. If you're selling it, you still have to roll its rarity mod because it's. Well, actually, I don't think you do. Maybe you can even write it. You flip flop it, but
if something scarce, people do want it.
Yeah, that would make sense that people want this thing as opposed to if it's plentiful, that's hard to sell. It's fucking everywhere. We'll think about that later. Just roll straight commerce then with any pluses or minuses you have, but don't forget rarity, and that's basically it's half cost plus 10% for every DOS you roll.
All right.
And so while Lucky is selling stuff, selling what could be a family heirloom, he could just ship it back home and keep it forever. But no.
Actually, you know what? Okay, now that you said that.
Now, do you want to just send it back to the homeland?
Yeah, I'm just gonna send it back fucking home.
Right.
I hate this fucking shield.
Yeah. It was temporarily used as an enchantment. I'm sure you've dropped that by now.
Yeah.
If you're replacing it. But yeah, no, it's high quality stuff, so you'll send it home.
Let's put this over a fucking fireplace to home. I'll go to the fucking mage mail. I'm gonna send this home.
Yeah, you have siblings or something, who could use it, or it'll stay in your name. You'll have children someday who can take care of that. It's an old family heirloom. Grandpappy Wolfgang's shield. Never mind that there's a bullet hole in this. It's totally okay. All right, so mapping around the base. So this one's actually a little bit more complex. It tells you a lot more stuff, actually. So you're doing map lines. There is not necessarily a ley line directly under your base. You're not necessarily in a place of power right now. That's kind of what your captain's trying to fix. But the local saturation has a couple of interesting paths. And so you're looking around and using the compass to guide you and your own navigational knowledge, basically, you can track down some stuff. So you start to go out of town a little bit and you run into mining, and that's metal lines. There's a gold mine, an iron mine out of town. They're all in nice big strings, and that forms basically the ley line. You can line those up perfectly because you sink the mine heads where the resources are. So those kind of move in, not intersecting through town or your base in general, but they are close by to you. There's probably a couple of those. There's another ley line which is earth related, which is where some people have done some coal deposits, and if you track that one, that actually it transitions into a wood ley line and becomes the wood ley line that was in that village you guys were investigating earlier. So it kind of transitions from earth back to wood, because that's how coal is formed. So there's an angle there.
Okay.
That's going to be your primary ley line sources. You don't have a lot of rivers, so you don't have a lot of water lines.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of forest cover. Like, you'd have to go pretty far north or east to hit naturally occurring wood ley lines. There's not, as far as I know, there's not a lot of volcanic activity, so there's not a lot of fire bubbling up. There may be some air ley lines, which are basically where currents off the ocean transition into air mana as they come inland, basically. That kind of like natural transition. Because everybody should remember that there's a little bit of whooshing in this. There's a little bit of like transition of elements, so elements can flow from one state to the other. But yeah, that's generally what you're looking at inland is going to be earth and metal, and you've got several of those close by, which you have obviously mapped out.
Okay.
All right. Is that good enough for the both of you? Are there any other questions you need to ask about these maps you've made?
No. Now I just have questions about like how does like affecting ley lines affect the world stuff. That could be done after I actually have time to look around and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I will warn you. if you, depending on where you try to reposition it, you might be better trying to basically create a new branch. If you cut off a point so you can draw a new line, basically, that would mean that those mineral resources would probably start to dry up after a while. There would be less natural formation down there. Or it could lead to, like, instability, like maybe the quality of the material would decrease over time because it's not being fed by natural magic occurrence. Because, the metal that's there is there. You're not going to, like, yesterday there was gold here, now the gold is gone. It's not quite that, but...
it's more just, like...
Once they get past what they've already found, they're going to find that the veins are going to start to peter out. You know, it's going to get harder to find, but like I said, the quality might go down.
I said, like, I guess the plan is I might, like, who knows, maybe I'll ask the spirit if I can, like, borrow their power to feed these other ley lines that I might be diverting. Because you're saying, like, some ley lines transition to other ley lines, so if I can divert an earth line to metal and have it transition to metal there, and then have something from there move under my base, that might... Yeah,
you could do that. You can try and, like... you can change the nature of ley lines, you can convert ley lines, you would draw new ones. You could basically be like, okay, I have metaphysically aligned 2 points, I'm going to make a new ley line between them.
Yeah. But as I said, that actually sounds like a lot of, I have to sit down, do math, and progress stuff. So it's not something I'm just going to go out and do
when you're done with your shield, you'll probably, take a break for evening mess, Ulrich is back, and he's got, maps to drop off and put up in your office of ley line drawings.
Well, actually, I'm going to get a copy of this map and put it in our workshop, because I'm pretty sure other mages would be interested.
All right. No, I mean, they're real high quality. He rolled well, so...
Yeah, so... I said, everyone could benefit from this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically now it's motherfucking I'm rolling like goddamn academics and spellcraft. Be like, all right, I want to change ley lines, but I don't want to fucking completely fuck up the goddamn ecosystem.
That would probably be like you say, like an academics to go into your books and like build your proper ritual points, and then you're going to be rolling spellcraft later, which will be the actual. Okay, I'm going to do this stuff. And yeah, what you're going to want to do is basically metaphysical anchors. You're going to want to find the points to draw the energy so that it flows naturally through those points and it doesn't disperse. That could be bad. If you fuck it up and disperse, then you'll have like an aether burst and you'll have a lot of mana for a couple of days and then it'll go back to normal.
And again, if I'm gonna utilize the fucking conflux, we're gonna have to go do, hey spirit, here's some shit, we're gonna fuck up some of your shit, please don't hate us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I said, I don't know if we actually need to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
That's fair. All right.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Most of your day, you've built a shield.
Yep.
I gotta get better at flying now, because I'm taking a penalty for flying with it.
Yeah. While you're actively equipping it, anyway.
Yeah.
It's because you've added a man-sized metal sail.
Well, I said the point of it is so when I'm getting shot at by scary women with big guns, I don't have to worry quite as much. So, goddamn. I totally forgot to do my Oni mission. God damn it.
Oh shit, did that just reset? I know that I had to do the pursue, I just did that earlier.
Okay. Anyway.
Yep. Alright, let's see. We're at about an hour 20, so if you guys aren't doing anything, we can go ahead and move on to the next day.
I'm ready to move on to the next day.
I'm ready to move on to the next day.
That night, I make sure my fucking boots are shined and my uniform is pressed and my medals are top bling.
Yep. No, everybody probably spends the first half of the day, basically, trotting out patrol. Like all your officers are busy pressing their uniforms, double checking everything, polishing, making sure their medals are ordered. Ulrich does have his new medal. Which one is that? It's the
Excellence in Magic.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't have any other new medals yet.
Yeah, there it is. So
well, we also do got the Order of the Silver Stack, which I think is prestigious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he has those medals already. His new medal.
That was one I've had for however many sessions now.
That's true. But
yeah, there's probably Wolfgang the next morning. There's a little envelope on your desk which has the medal in it, and it's like, all right, you expedited this.
All right, sorry, Ulrich, we're not gonna have a big ceremony. Here's your fucking medal. Put it on.
Yeah, he'll just like put it on.
It's like I gotta make sure I'm clean. I'm gonna run some grease through my hair.
Yep.
Make sure you're not scruffy.
Even though I don't have unkept, I do like to believe I still maintain a little bit of scruffiness.
Yeah, it's just not that it automatically comes back. It just sort of creeps in after a couple of days of fucking night missions.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, everybody makes sure everybody has a shave.
Mm.
Polish it up. Your boots are polished. You got all the shit you need in your grooming kit, so
yeah.
Throw on your dress uniforms, or like I said, parade.
I
if you
hope
don't
that these
necessarily
bags
have a
under
dress,
my
stuff
eyes
like
aren't fucking huge.
No, you've been getting your rest for a couple days, so you've had time to recover from waking up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to fly into the desert.
Good time.
All right, so after noontime, everybody kind of forts up, gets together, and the officers all roll, and your unit rolls out. The major pulls out all the staff cars, so everybody gets in a car and rolls. You probably have a junior officer drive you just to save space.
Yeah, my XO drives. She literally has what did I give her? It was what was it? Vehicle specialist car.
Yeah. So yeah, you're driving up, you're fitting everybody back, everybody's nicely dressed. You all arrive. So I debated externally whether or not I wanted this to be like a secret-y night meeting or not, but quite frankly, it's still pretty close to the summer, so that would be pretty fucking late. And most of the people here are going to be military men, which means they got to get up early, so there's really no point in it. So everybody arrives. You are all ushered in by the Governor General's house staff, basically. You notice that there are a fair number of, not high-ranked, but, a handful of, MPs and even some of your junior mage officers from a couple of the different groups you have, basically stationed out and around the governor's building, because that's the governor, like we said, the governor's residence is also basically his office, and they seem to be maintaining security. Nobody who's not supposed to be here gets in.
Are they going to try and take my sword?
No, you guys are in full. You're in full blinged out. So like everybody's sabers, swords, sidearms are all kept. That's part of your uniform kit.
Okay, just checking.
Like you probably leave if you brought you probably didn't bring them because you got to go in a car. But like I said, if you brought rifles, you'd probably have to leave them.
No, I didn't bring.
But like
I have my sidearm and my sword.
Yeah,
I have my sidearms and my sword.
Yeah, that's all. That's part of your kit. Is part of the full thing, and you're like, you guys have capes or capelets. You got hats, medals,
you got sweet
ribbons.
Hats, I bet.
With giant eagles spitting thunderbolts or something. At some point, I'll probably have to get with a graphic designer for this when we get to that stage. But at some point, I'll have to figure out everybody's logos.
Right.
Excuse me, I sneezed. But yeah, so everybody's bundled up into what you think would normally be a ballroom, but has been turned into basically an impromptu conference room because conference rooms don't exist yet. There's a big table in the center. There's a few benches and a few comfy chairs. Most of you have to stand, though.
Ooh. Sorry, Rick, you're probably gonna have to stand.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
So let me set the scene for you guys. This basically breaks down by into 4 quadrants. But first I have to blow my nose because I sneezed. Okay, now that I can breathe and speak like a normal person. So you're in like I said, a ballroom. There is a glass chandelier above you. There's some lovely pictures on the wall. Some of them are actual photographs of like, oh, here's the first day the governor's residence was open. Here's first day City Hall was up. A lovely, the first map of the town. A copy of your colonial charter, all that fun stuff in here. Lovely thinking pieces. There's a couple object art, but it's mostly been cleared out. And you're standing, like I said, in 4 quadrants. So we'll describe who else here in the mage quadrant in a second. But first, to one of your sides, you will recognize the gentleman mostly from the Stahl Imperial Army. So you don't know too many of these guys too well, but you recognize some of them. Some of them are officers, lieutenants and captains you would have met when you were interfacing with infantry units before, because you've done that a couple times. Mm-hmm. Some of them you recognize as artillery officers who were previously under Major Mustache, so you know them before.
Yeah.
milling about. The rest you can identify by rank and unit affiliation. Those guys are artillerists. Those guys are cavalry. Those guys are aviators. Up at the front, you see a lot of guys who are like the lieutenant colonel you met, who are intelligence, clearly, because, these guys don't look like they belong to any other unit, so thus they must be intelligence. You'd also probably recognize liaison and logistics officers who work with you a lot, the conventional military who's like, okay, here's your regular-ass guns and bullets kind of stuff, those guys.
Oh yes, we had an interesting talk about them, because somebody had to make some weird-ass fucking guns.
Mm-hmm. There are probably some senior guys in the MPs there, just a decent smattering from all branches.
Mm-hmm.
Across from you is the smallest quadrant, that's the Stahl Navy. So, you recognize they've got a couple of senior staff officers from the ships you have that are stationed here, a couple of destroyers, a couple of light cruisers and corvettes, that kind of stuff. They're there. You also see naval representation, naval infantry representation, those guys, and your small handful of basically desk officers, the kind of guys who are sitting in the naval offices on land in your ports, managing that kind of stuff. They're really the smallest group, like I said. They don't have too big of a presence here. And then on the other side of you, the fourth quadrant is civilian government. So you've got the Governor General is here. A couple of his ministers and colonial advisors are here. You see a fair number of civilian mages here, the kind of guys running mentorships, teaching the local mages, or running local mage businesses. But most of them are too old to have really, volunteered for frontline combat service, so they stayed civilians, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You also see a small handful of private business owners. You see a couple of the major mine owners. You see the director of the local civilian hospital, anyway. A couple of other businessy types. This is actually because the German colonial effort was thought that private money, not public money, should be spent to improve. So a lot of your work on infrastructure and stuff is funded by private businesses, basically. It's to us, we think of it as kind of an American way of thinking of it. There's it's not just that, the German army will build those roads. No, there's the mine owners and the guys running shops and stuff are like, no, we need roads, we'll pay for them, kind of stuff. So they're involved too. Okay. So in the Mage Quarter, unfortunately, yes, Ulrich is probably standing and he's probably a little bit towards the back. You guys are kind of forming a pyramid. At the very front is the Major General. He actually gets a chair. So he's seated up there kind of at the table. And you guys are basically all your officers, your sister squadron's officers, the Major, her senior staff, all your senior NCOs and specialists who might have something to contribute are all here. Mm-hmm. And then there's also the other company's worth of mages, who's the big group here, because we've talked about this and said that you guys probably only have another couple of companies worth of mages here at all. So they're led by a major. His unit is a little bit larger than yours overall. He's got more stuff adjuncted to him, but that's because of seniority. Technically, he was probably your CO's boss before she got promoted and basically got her own unit reorganized. And he is a major that most people just call Tiger, or the Tiger. So he's a huge dude, kind of orangey yellow hair, slicked back, huge mutton chops. You recognize him everywhere because he's got huge claw marks down one side of his face. He's missing his left eye, and his left arm just above the elbow is a prosthetic. So he's actually wearing a prosthesis. Everybody calls him the Tiger because he was part of exploratory and peacekeeping troops in the Sine. And there was reports, there was a village, there was some kind of phantasmal tiger.
Oh.
So he took a squad of mages out there. The tiger took an arm and an eye, but if you ever go up to his office, he has a giant golden tiger pelt rug. So,
ooh,
there's a little bit of tradesies.
Oh, that's a
his unit is almost entirely ground mages, strikers, looking at his guys, because you don't have much call to hang out with them as mostly air mages, you would divide his units into two types. One half of them are about huge, big boys and girls, hard men doing hard things. They are all assault troops, heavy weapons teams, that kind of stuff. The other half of his units are wirier, smaller. They're mostly earth and wood mages, and they are all woodland scouts, pathfinders, hunter killers, that kind of stuff. They can actually take a light foot and a light tread. He also probably has a company's worth anyway of aerial mages adjutant to him. You see a couple of their officers, and those are basically their function similar to your own scout platoon, where they're basically a small unit of guys who are either locals, one way or the other, or they were too skinny and scrawny to, carry a heavy machine gun into battle, so he stuck them in his air squadron. And so they're mostly scouts. And you also see representatives of your other small units. We're talking sub-platoon size, platoon or even smaller, like a couple of squads. Like, there's a couple of aerial teams as artillery spotters and scouters who are adjutant to infantry units. You guys have a couple of squads of, a dozen guys at a time of sub-mages who are basically coastal defense and boarding actions. And, like we said, you guys have small handfuls of basically your own quartermasters who handle mage stuff. Mm-hmm. Small numbers of them. They've got a couple of representatives. And at the front with the Major General, there's two officers flanking him, both ranked as lieutenant colonels. The Major kind of points them out to you.
Okay.
So he says...
quick question. The base that we're stationed on, is that specifically a mage base, or is there also infantrymen running around there? Like standard army?
That's probably mostly a mage division base, though, because we've noted there's not like walls and stuff. You're probably backed up against the regular Imperial Army base, so there's...
But yeah, so I was just thinking about that. I was like, wait a minute, I've been like doing things like, I've been big dick swinging around this base. Like, actually, how much of this base are we actually a part of? It's like, okay, no, if we're just like the mage section of the base, alright, I don't feel like I've been maybe stomping on toes here.
When we talked about the organizational, like your buildings and stuff, that's the mage chunk of the base. So, and like we said, the army keeps their own base buildings and facilities. There may or may not be a fence between you and them, so if their guys are on duty, they, probably just walk over if they've got something to do, but it's not quite to the level of, we're not talking about the same level of division where, like, an army base is different from an air force base kind of thing. Like, no, you guys are all the colonial troops, so you're all free to cross into each other's business, basically, but your buildings are your own.
Okay. Sorry, that just occurred to me hearing you talk about all these types we got going.
No. And quite frankly, a lot of these guys you don't recognize are probably from farther flung units. Like Major Tiger, probably a lot of his guys are in the north, where you've got more thicker ground cover and actually like have to do foot patrols kind of thing. And obviously, other than for this meeting, there's no reason for those sub-mages to be this far inland. So, this isn't where they're based and quartered. But they're in your section. So, the Major points out to you the two lieutenant colonels who are with him. The Major General. One of them is very flashily dressed. He's got kind of like red gold hair, clean shaven and a little baby-faced. He's not really covered in medals, but at the same time, all of his uniform accessories, like his epaulets and his cufflinks and all that, are somehow the finest quality and super shiny. And you don't really notice that he doesn't have a lot of medals. He just looks really, really nice and flashy. The Major kind of nods at him and points out, that's a flashy one. He's, you wouldn't know it, but he's a little bit of a nouveau riche. His family was impoverished a couple generations back, but then his grandfather came up with this brilliant idea that he would offer his services to help people down here find mineral veins, and in exchange for part of the mining rights. So within a couple of years, he's been working down here in South Alkebulan, and now the family owns partial rights to mines all over. I'm sure the Commonwealth has frozen any assets on that side, but there were a few of those that they owned even. He's all flash and no substance. Don't worry about him. I think he's engaged to some film star back in the homeland.
Oh.
But his family has the purse strings, though, and they are very business-connected. The other one, she points at a female lieutenant colonel. She's very well-dressed, sharply dressed, got some spectacles on, kind of stern professional hairstyle, dark hair, dark eyes. A little pale, like she's not been out in the summer sun a lot. And she says,
probably in an office a lot.
We call her the colonel accountant. She's the major general's. She's some kind of whiz with numbers. The army office pulled her out of university.
Oh.
She runs the major general's accounting. Your major kind of gives you the side eye and says, I've been in her office many a time to justify some of the unit's expenditures. Luckily, Captain, you bring in more than you put out, so there hasn't been a problem, but she's on top of everything. And so you have a little bit of time to mill around if you wanted to, rub elbows with anybody.
I'll do some general elbow run, handshakes, greet people of, quote-unquote, the nobility.
Yeah.
Said their protocols. I'll probably stay away from people who are definitely higher rank than me, though. I'll definitely speak to the, I guess I'd say hospital director.
Yeah.
Find out how things are going over there. The mines. I feel like I really don't want to talk to the Novu Ridge guy, but I will, make inquiries about his family, holdings, how things have been treating him down in the colony, all that stuff. I will avoid the secretary with a passion.
Yeah, she mostly just stands quietly just off the Major General's left shoulder. Eyes like a hawk.
I'll give my respects to the Major General.
He nods at you. He looks like maybe he'd like to say some stuff, but he's got business going on. So
I hope it's not bad stuff.
No, he doesn't look mad or anything. He
empathy.
I don't actually.
Empathy.
You can roll empathy. I was just gonna point out. I'm not entirely sure where. Actually, this is a good question because she's embedded with your unit. The war reporter can come. So, are you gonna leave her embedded with your guys, or is this like a no? You should go stand with the civilians kind of thing? Because she'll be here and take notes, but do you want to publicly show solidarity that no, she's with us, or is this
yeah? Well, as I said, this is the way I'm gonna phrase it. I'm gonna say it's since you are attached to my unit, I would like it. Yeah, basically, I would request that she stays with my unit. I'm not gonna tell her to stay with my unit.
All right, so then she'll be here with her notepad and basically kind of hover on the outskirts by your units, not really say anything. Doesn't say much, but takes a lot of notes.
Okay.
When you say hello to the Major General, he definitely shoots a glance over her way, and he looks like he wants to say something, but he kind of lets it ride because he's in the middle of business time.
I do want to roll empathy, and it's all how does he feel about this? I have no fucking idea.
He is the Major General. He is a rock.
Yeah, I rolled an 86, so no.
He is a stone-cold statue of discipline and gentlemanliness. His mustache is perfect. His monocle, shiny. In fact, that's why you don't get anything. You just stare into his monocle and it blinds you.
Ah! It's enchanted!
It's that good.
I don't know, but I'll make my rounds.
Yeah, you hobnob a little.
Yeah, I hobnob.
Maybe you say hi to a couple of the guys you know in the Army and Navy.
High five, secret handshakes.
Secret handshakes.
Yep. I'll talk to the Navy guys a little bit and see if I can get a little bit of find out how the sea situation is going.
Basically, what you get back from them is that's why they're here. They're gonna report to everybody. So
okay, cool, perfect.
That's why we're this far from the water. They busted us out here to report.
It's good. All right, but yeah, the Tiger is also kind of fucking I don't know. I know I'm intimidating in my armor, but I only got a 33 out of my armor.
No, he is a big scary boy.
Yeah.
Like I said, he got close enough to a giant phantasmal tiger to lose some stuff, so he's not really intimidated by much. He's just kind of gruffly sitting there. He's got his dress uniform arm pinned back so you can see the prosthetic.
Yeah, Martha said in chat he's just gonna stay out of the way and not talk unless someone needs to do so with me. And Honestly, Ulrich, that's probably pretty in character and pretty a fucking smart thing to do.
Yeah, I expect a lot of your warrant officers and senior NCOs, who are basically your specialists, they do something specific, are in the back, against the wall, not saying nothing, trying to look professional.
Yeah, besides he's from an isolated community, he doesn't really like hobnobbing with townsfolk.
Like I said, I am an officer and a noble. I have to do a certain amount of quote-unquote politicking.
You are indeed an officer and a gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly a scholar.
But, possibly.
We haven't actually gotten to doing anything scholarly, but you're planning on it. You're gonna find some fucking books.
That's alright. I get books. I have a bookshelf full of smarty pants sounding titles.
Yeah, based on the time frame, I'm not sure there's an actual university or academy campus here in this colony.
No, we actually said that. We actually said that we do not have a campus.
Yeah, so I don't think there are higher learning institutions here. Normally you're like, oh, you did really good. We'll send you back to the homeland. We can get you educated proper. The civilian mages here are basically running, expanded mentorships. Normally you do a 1-on-1 mentorship. They're doing, 1-on-20 mentorships, small class sizes kind of stuff.
Oh.
So, you could probably talk to some of them. They know some of the locals. There is probably a local library. I don't know if the head librarian would be at this meeting, though, because there's not a lot he has to contribute. I accidentally bumped my car.
I don't know, but I never really thought about. Well, honestly, the education of the colonies is something I can think about when I'm not worrying about the colony being here in a year. So,
but all right. So, with all that, you did your social graces. There's kind of some, like I said, you recognize him, the intelligence lieutenant colonel, Holland, kind of steps up and kind of, clears his throat and says, "Gentlemen," he kind of nods at the civilian mage quarter. "Ladies, if everybody settle in, we'd like to begin. We'll have everybody back in time for a nice dinner and drinks. Some polite chuckling." He kind of nods, gives the floor to the governor general. The governor kind of stands up and very briefly speaks and says, "All right, everyone, we're all here tonight to discuss the ongoing strategic efforts of the southwestern colony in the ongoing war effort. I have assembled you all here and heard your many reports to go on. So, Lieutenant Colonel, if you would please," and basically passes it back to him. And so the Lieutenant Colonel kind of pauses for a sec. He's like, "Okay." And continues. Then he's like, "Very well. So this office has recently received a wealth of intelligence from our efforts. Thanks to cooperation with our brothers and sisters in the mage unit." He nods to the Major General. The Major General nods and kind of indicates back to your Major. She kind of nods, and it goes down the line. So everybody in the room knows who is responsible for this.
And Wolfgang's there at the bottom with the double thumbs up. Hey, no. Who do I nod to? I'm not.
The Major insists that you stand directly behind her and to the right. So.
Oh, okay.
Guess
what, Ogre? Guess I'm standing too, buddy.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing. The Major doesn't get to. The Major probably doesn't get to sit either. There's very few seats. Most people are standing.
Oh, so it's probably the Major General is sitting.
Yes.
Then
he has a big, comfy chair.
Okay. Then our Major's behind him to the right or left, and then me and Brand are on either side.
Basically, you form a pyramid of leadership.
Okay. This is literally the chain of command.
Yes.
Cool.
So like I said, the Major made sure you're standing on her right, so everybody knows because you're also way fucking taller than she is, as we've discussed. You're a solid foot taller.
Mm-hmm.
Even in her dress uniform, which probably has some heels, you're taller. You and your big boots. So everybody understands the basically the compliment and thanks goes down the chain of command. It goes to your boss's boss, it comes to your boss, and your boss kind of is like, "Yeah, these are my guys.
They do good."
And says, so we will be talking about some of the targets and other information we've received later as we move into the strategic plan. But let's make sure we have a complete picture of intelligence first. He kind of turns to the naval corps and says, mentions to one of them, "Captain, if you would please give a report from the naval office." That captain who is sitting down, so you expect that he's probably the senior most captain among the vessels you have. he stands up and he says, "All right, as you know, the naval condition is mostly as it has been. We are starting to get some escorted convoys through with supplies, but that obviously means that those ships are defended and thus valid targets. And as you may have heard, the enemy forces are quite robust in the region. We have not yet had any encounters since the one last week, where the Dreadnought Relentless bombarded one of our ports, but we know that the Relentless is out there. By the way, that's a retcon. I think I said that it was Victory before, but I decided to go with Relentless.
Yeah, okay. I was there! It was scary!
Yeah, so, like, there's some tense murmuring. You guys aren't really equipped to deal with a full-blown dreadnought.
Nope.
He says, however, I've spoken to the Naval Office Strategic Command back in the home, and they heard that it was such good hunting down here, they've decided to send us some more reinforcements. I have been informed that 2 of our latest undersea boats have been dispatched. These are brand new models, fresh off the line. High capacity batteries, very fast. It will still be, they've already been dispatched from the Mare Nostrum. It will still be some weeks, if not months, before they arrive, but when they are here, hopefully they can begin either intercepting enemy patrols to allow our supplies through, or possibly begin counter raids, which will make the enemy rethink his naval plan. He nods back towards your quarter in general. I have also been informed that these U-boats, being the latest models, have been modified to carry a squad's worth of submarine mages to supplement their efforts. So, hopefully, we will be getting some reinforcements in that respect. Until then, he kind of turns to the Governor General and says, I have recommended we step up coastal defenses and patrols, but as we have no major shipyards here, there is not much else we can do except wait for reinforcements, or cause our enemy to be busy elsewhere. The Governor General kind of nods. He doesn't stand up and he acknowledges, our foundries are turning out additional coastal defense guns as fast as they can, but this obviously cuts into our own reserves of iron and steel, which may be used for other repair and construction projects in the colony. So there is only so much we can do. Well, we may have to wait this one out. Kind of nods. Naval team sits down. Officer, kind of speaking for the Army, we in general are prepared. Our forces have taken secure hold of our section of the Orange River and fortifications further up it. There has been at this time no enemy reprisals, though there have been infantry probing attacks. We have patrols along our desert flank, but as you all know, that will be a very difficult area for the Capeland forces to cross, especially with the heavy weapons they will need for an extended siege. So I feel at the time secure on our borders. Obviously, he kind of turns back, and some of the infantry officers are kind of agree with him, and like, obviously our forces are limited in manpower. We haven't had any major reinforcements, so if there is a buildup, we could be overrun, but we'd see that coming weeks, months ahead of time. At the moment, there is no major movements, just skirmishes. So, for the moment, our borders are secure. Men are orderly. There is no problems with discipline in the ranks. Everything is fine.
My paranoia screams, everything is not fine.
The Major General takes his turn, and he kind of nods and says, very well. As you can see, our mage units are fully stocked up. Our supplies are flush. There is, I have heard, no supply concerns with mobility units or Ethereum cores. He kind of nods at his, like, the woman the Major called the Accountant Colonel, and she kind of just silently nods and says, we've had no major casualties in any of our offensives. Our patrols, our aerial patrols across the border seem to indicate minimal enemy efforts, other than the incident over the port, which you are all aware, where a small unit was able to invade our airspace after coming off the Relentless. There have been no further incidents of air penetration before or since, and no signs of further enemy mage incursion by land. If they are building up forces, obviously, points to the intelligence guy, the Lieutenant Colonel would know, but at the moment we have no signs of concern. I have been asked by the Homeland to step up military recruitment to bring in additional military mages. I have been told that there will be a graduating class out of the academy soon, and we have been earmarked some fresh new officers and specialists. But before then, I have been asked to begin recruiting from the civilian population locally, asking for additional recruiting as militia to supplement our efforts. This will obviously take some time. As I'm sure all our brothers in arms understand, that it takes a little bit more to train a mage than an infantryman. Not only must you train him how to shoot a gun and carry his ammo and obey basic orders and how to dig a trench, but we must also teach them how to manage their mobility units, how to perform basic barriers and enhancing spellcraft, etc. The Homeland office has insisted I shorten this training course to 4 weeks. I have been told by locals, he kind of points at some of those teachers that I mentioned before, local magisters, that the minimum amount of time is 10 weeks. I believe we will arrive at a happy medium of 6 or 7 weeks, but the course is not finalized. Hopefully this will supplement us with additional forces who will be mobility unit trained, who can go where we need them. Otherwise, it is also business as usual for us. So there's, some kind of nodding. Several ministers and members of the public speak. I won't go through their whole speeches in character, but it basically amounts to work is good, workers are still fed, and watered. There's a little bit of concern that, the growing season isn't done, so there's a little bit of concern about food, but hopefully everybody's saying it'll be a good harvest this year, so we should be fine if we can last until harvest season, basically. Mines are still productive. Basically, some of the mine owners reiterate the thing we discussed basically out of character, which is like, I've got as many workers as I can handle. There's nobody else is taking jobs. But so our production is limited but running smoothly. We have all the labor and technical assistance we can manage. Hospitals are like, luckily there's been no outbreak of disease or anything, etc. And kind of, go down the line. So everybody is basically concerned but hopeful is the impression you get from the room. There's no signs of any major enemy offensive. It sounds like they're just trying to starve you guys out. For the time being, your supplies will hold, but if things change or you have to start expending supplies, shit might get hairier. So it cycles back around to the intelligence officer, and he says, all right, well, our intelligence gathering has also heard from our diplomatics corps and our allies in fellow colonies. Unfortunately, their situations are about as well off as ours. They are surrounded on many sides by enemy forces, with limits to how many supplies they can bring to bear. I have spoken with our allies in East Alkebulan, who are currently engaged with Commonwealth and Belgian forces. They are saying that they are unlikely to be able to directly hook up with us, though if we made our own advances, they could possibly meet us halfway. In the north, we have similar concerns dealing with the Fleur and Commonwealth forces, though it is unfortunate that I have received intelligence reports from Cameron that indicates that front has devolved into trench warfare, much like the Homeland. Yes. There's a lot of unfortunate murmuring. Some of these guys came from the early trenches, so nobody really wants to see that.
No.
But we have several strategic efforts, so I've been tasked with arranging your various memoranda and reports that many of you have submitted on the situation, along with our own intelligence, and I will now present to you a series of plans which we, as the commanders of this colonial force, must come to an agreement on. He kind of yields to the, he's like, Governor General, if you're ready for me to proceed, the Governor General is like, do it. The Governor General probably busts out a cigar at this point, clips it, and starts smoking. Everything's down to the reels. So a tactical level map is rolled out onto the table in the center of the room that everybody can see. Several, low-ranking officers and stuff come up to basically move some pieces around. And the Lieutenant Colonel Holland will lay out some plans on the map and stuff. So he says, all right, the Intelligence Office of Alkebulan Strategic Command has assembled 3 battle plans, which we will proceed with. Can proceed with at your option, sirs. Which will look like this. First, plan codenamed... and he says that, I will ask of you for the sake of operational security, from this point on, you only refer to the plans by their code names. Do not discuss the details of the plans outside this room. It is tantamount to maintain security. The first plan, Plan Nodens. This will involve heavily the support of our mage units, he gestures at you guys. Combined with aviation forces, we will take bombers escorted by mages, and we will make strikes along the enemy's ports along the coast. And he's basically got a pointer out. He's pointing at ports on the map, and units are, little tetrominos and stuff are being moved there to indicate forces moving and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. As he's outlining this. They will make directed, targeted strikes on legitimate military depots in these ports, ammunition, dry docks, any ships that are docked in port, etc. This will put the pressure on the enemy's navy. We will not stop, though, with just a easy assault, but they will continue to press farther and farther up the coast into enemy territory. This will obviously present a higher risk, but the plan is that the assaults will draw the enemy's naval forces back in to consolidate to shield the ports, which they so desperately need to keep those vessels armed and fueled, otherwise they are useless. At this time, we will then coordinate, first, a rush in supplies from our allies further up the coast in the north to push down to us. This has been prepared with the homeland. This will bring additional troops and supplies to our colonies, which will then be used to push up the coast after those assaults and into the now under-defended ports closer to us. This will allow us to gain a strategic inroad, open up more ports for supplies, and reduce the enemy's naval presence so we can continue business as usual. However, this obviously has a potential risk for our forces in that they will be penetrating deeper and deeper into enemy territory with each strike, and the plan only works if the enemy knows they are coming. To bring pressure off this, we have drawn up the second plan, Plan Apartacus. This will be a pincher assault. Once again, all of our available aerial forces, mages, fighters, bombers, will swing through lighter defended Commonwealth colonies to the north of Capeland and make a press on them from the north. The intent is that this will, since these are far behind what are normally our lines, this will force the enemy to respond. They will bring up their own mage forces to counter. While they are busy and their attention and possibly some of their conventional forces are drawn away from our front line, we will make a concerted push into enemy territory, an all-out assault, which will drive a strategic wedge into their territory. After which point, we will also provide a closer relief area for our mage and other air forces to extract back to. This, however, also poses significant drawbacks. We are talking a major assault. If it fails, we will have spent a lot of supplies to gain little territory. And obviously, once again, it's entirely possible the enemy has been amassing forces and that our distraction force will face major opposition. In that case, if a more surgical plan is gone with, we have Plan Empusa. This is a deep strike. It follows the Apartacus plan, but instead of a distraction, air and land mages will penetrate deeply into enemy territory and make strategic strikes, surgical strikes, on infrastructure targets we have outlined. Rail bridges, road bridges, army bases and depots. We will cut off enemy supplies and retreat lines. While our main force rolls in after the lines are cut, we will basically come together, roll up enemy forces, and have taken a significant degree of territory. This plan has several advantages, in that first off, a complete surgical cutoff is not required. If some bridges or depots survive, that just leaves bottlenecks, which will make it that much harder for the enemy to get in and counterattack with. And, of course, lines we sever will mean that it will be much easier for us to set up in the captured territory. The downside is that after we have organized in the captured territory, we or the enemy will have to repair those bridges and lines to move our own supplies across them. So, basically, out of character. He presents the plans. Mm-hmm. You get called to a huddle. Mm-hmm. The Major General kind of turns to your Major and says, Major Schulteis, Major von Schulteis, he would maybe her honorific, since all three of these plans will require heavily involvement from your aerial officers, I will leave it to you to report to me what plan you think best our units can execute, and then basically she's like, cool, huddle. So everybody huddles, and she basically, it's like, well, the Major General's right, Captain Schmidt, you're head of the single largest block of our air units, so you guys are going to be taking the brunt of this. What plan do you think you want to hit up? And basically, out of character, Nodin's is probably one of the riskiest plans, but it directly solves problems I know you guys have. You'll be hitting their naval assets, you'll be reducing their naval power, and forcing them to withdraw from your coastline so you can get supplies. However, This means you'll be doing deep penetrations into enemy territory, flying long missions, and the enemy's going to know you're coming after the first, 1 or 2 of these things. So, this will progressively grow in risk as it goes on, and it's going to get harder and harder for you to recover your guys from this, basically. But you'll hit their naval resources, and you'll clear up some of your supply lines. Apartacus is similar. You guys are going to basically do a big swing around. You're going to have a big fucking fight with the enemy mages, but if it succeeds and you draw them away, your forces will basically start steamrolling into enemy territory, drive a wedge into their forces, which makes it harder for them to come back and counterattack, and you can then retreat to that distance. But there's... Apartacus sounds cool, and you're going to gain a lot of territory, but there's not a lot of specific gains, I should say.
Yeah.
It's a very general plan. And Pusa is very specific. It's the least risky to you, but also the most technical. You guys are going to have to go hit specific targets which are outlined, and you're going to have to take them out in a timely fashion, and then basically, come together like a wall and crush any enemy forces left in the captured territory. You will specifically, if hit infrastructural targets, you'll have rolled up the territory and be fairly secure in it, but it's a little short term because, like I said, it'll be hard for you to advance from this position. So yeah, which plan do you want to tell the Major to support?
Honestly, my knee-jerk reaction is to support the high risk, high reward. That's basically how the naval mission works, right?
Yeah, it's every time you do one of these missions, it's going to get riskier and riskier, but the deeper you can push back, that's the farther away their naval assets get from your actual coastlines, the more you can get supplies secured. And eventually, like they said, once you've pulled them far enough back, they're literally going to march up the coast and start landing in these ports and taking them, which will give you real concrete gains. But, like I said, it means that after 1 or 2 of these missions, you guys are going to be assaulting cities, which are going to be a little cross with you, and filled with angry boats with angry guns.
Right.
Ulrich, as I said, you're going to be, whatever you do, you're going to be flying with me. I want to hear your thoughts too.
Yes, whichever one that would give us possibly the most advantage after we pull it off.
Looking at it, honestly, I think that's going to be the naval mission, because its benefits are twofold. One, we deny the boats, which are fucking with our supplies right now, which is a big concern for me right now. And 2, we start making gains into... I'm assuming we're going through, South Africa territory.
Yeah, you're basically going to go around the horn. You're going to go around the coast, hitting ports.
And this is my second fucking objective, is we start making actually elite gains in fucking South Africa to maybe...
Right. Yeah, no,
expand your territory.
You guys have a fairly decent sized city, which is basically at the river mouth, and you guys will cross the river and hug the coast and go south. They'll have boats that do landings, and basically you'll start taking coastlines. You won't be taking a lot of territory in the interior, but you'll be taking ports and port towns.
As I said, honestly, if we cut off their supply routes, they'll make future operations. Well, they'll start suffering from the problems. They'll start suffering from the problems that we have.
Right, yeah, and then that comes back to the thing we discussed, which is basically escalation. If they have to send more naval assets down here, that means that they're not using those naval assets elsewhere, which means that your guys can send more naval assets down here, and it basically just keeps going up until either somebody runs out of ships or somebody builds a whole lot of ships.
Right.
Actually, this was something I forgot to note was that the other thing was that if it was probably explicitly mentioned in the naval report that in addition to the U-boats, which are on their way now, they've gotten assurances from the naval office that should an opportunity arise to relocate forces, that theoretically you have been promised a fairly big naval group, probably a battleship group, to steam down here and assist if that's where the fight is. That said, that's not like the U-boat thing where they're like, no, those are definitely on their way right now. That's like, oh, for sure, if you guys, if you continue to have problems and there's continued to, well, obviously strategic goals, we'll have to send, something down there. That's all promises and maybes.
Yeah, and those promises will probably get kept if we make a good fucking show of it.
Right. Yes. What the naval officer would have said is the sea is very fickle. You never know. Ships may have bad weather. You may run out of fuel. have to fuel up at different ports. It can be very complex. So he would basically have reported in a polite terms that the U-boats are guaranteed. Command has already sent those guys out full steam to come down here because there's shit to blow up, basically.
Prizes to take.
Yeah, this is good hunting for U-boats. There are enemy supply boats and enemy naval ships down here fucking around. But strategically speaking, like, I'm sure you guys would love a battleship group, but that's very, very wishy-washy. Like, oh, sure, if, you never know what kind of excuse they could have to not send that.
Yeah.
Heck, right now, it's the middle of fucking winter around the Cape. The weather's not great, so.
Right.
Actually, no, it's not winter, it's summer, but it will transition to winter, so.
Might be good now, but they're not looking forward to what's coming after.
No, the weather around the Cape is notoriously shitty.
Yeah.
So, like, God forbid, nobody really wants to lose anything important down here. Technically, that's why you guys haven't folded over yet, because gold and diamonds and platinum and stuff is important. So, nobody really wants to lose that. But, gold and diamonds coming out of the ground is not a battleship either. That's actual tons of German steel supposedly blowing shit up.
So, Ulrich, I'm thinking high risk, high reward plan. You behind me on that?
Yes.
Now I will point out, if Captain Brent gives her opinion, she says, she's partial to Apartacus or Impusa because that means that her units are actually doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Nodens is all you and army airmen, basically, until they get to moving up the coast.
Right.
But
and we do want...
That said, you guys are still the ones in the thorny end, so that's my suggestion, but obviously, if I'm not, that also means that my guys aren't the ones getting shot, so if that's what our esteemed captain wants to do, I can't stop him.
Well, I'll definitely bring up the point, though, I said, long term, I'm definitely going to point out, Nodens, if we take the ports, we're basically, after that, we're going to start pushing inland. So, at that point, I think, Grimm's brands will definitely have their moment to shine then. As I said, as we start taking their outposts and whatnot, there's only so much my air unit do here, once we're here. So I'm pretty sure our firepower will be completely outclassed at that. I think, yeah. Major, I personally support Plan Nodens for the provisional first.
Alright, she nods. She gives you the look like, she didn't say anything, but she gives you the look just like, are you sure about this now?
This is the part in the game when the yes-no comes up. Are you sure? This choice will affect your future.
You cannot return from this choice. Yeah. Please remember to save your game.
Yeah, I wish I could save my game.
It's all
that'd be a real pain in the ass, though. Alright, we need to load from a store, so everybody roll back. You lost a couple levels of XP there. No.
I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be funny. Literally make a time spell save point. You make a point in time that you can warp back to.
That's all
everyone make a copy of your character sheet right now, just in case.
Well, actually, you say that there is one of the advanced time spells is rewind around, but that's why there's a note in the martial section which is these spells are real funky, so don't hand them out willy nilly because that's kind of a pain in the ass for everybody to be like, whoop, started the round over.
Yeah, joking, but I'm gonna give the firm nod. It's
all right.
My men once told me they followed me to hell and back. I guess this is that time we're gonna test that.
Indeed, we are. Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna go I'll go give my recommendation to the Major General.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah. It kind of comes, Brent kind of looks you up and down, and kind of shakes her head. You're still that crazy guy who jumped out of a plane into a castle.
Maybe this time I'll jump out of a plane and onto a boat.
Well, be careful thinking about that. Commonwealth sailors are a nasty bunch. But yeah, so goes up the line, the Major General kind of nods and says, and he's like, our mages are prepared to support Plan Nodens. The naval officer obviously yes, we support Plan Nodens. The army kind of equivocates. Like, obviously, it's like, well, we're not gonna see a lot of use for a while. We're still gonna have to work with the Navy, but ultimately, they seem to be having a quiet conversation with some of their aviation officers.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's basically like, actually, you can roll empathy again. Read the room.
Read the room
if you want to gain information.
I do want to gain information. I rolled a fucking 1.
Okay, you know things.
Let me see. I do know things. Do I have any?
Actually, this is your freaking LA Noire or Deus Ex, like, sensors go. You're like,
check. I don't know if my XO has anything, but I'm gonna check. Authority, fearsome presence, good contact. No, that's character. No, so 3 degrees of success though.
All right. The general impression you get from the room from the army guys is basically they kind of go back and forth and they're like, okay, well, on the one hand, our infantry guys aren't gonna, the cavalry and infantry officers aren't going to get any glory out of this, but on the other hand, we're not going to be coordinating a mass assault or anything. This is more like a slow march into weakened territory, so it's an easy win. And, aviation guys, are you okay with this crazy plan? And they're like, hey, if those mages are going to do it, we're in planes, so at least we can sit down. It's basically, kind of the body language is like, hey, if they're up for it, we're up for it. And they're like, all right, we'll support Plan Nodens. The Governor General kind of nods and says, very well, Lieutenant Colonel, you have everyone's decision. We are going forward with Plan Nodens. We'll put those other 2 plans in our back pocket in case tactics have to change. But everyone, I expect that you shall be seeing orders from your quarters in the next couple of days. Good luck, ladies and gentlemen. Stands up, everybody stands up, and everybody kind of filters out. So if you want to catch words with anybody at this big powwow before everybody breaks up, now's the time. Otherwise, you're going back to base.
Actually, I'm gonna catch up with the Navy guys real quick. I'm gonna ask them if there's a potential chance that we can get support from them during these missions.
There's probably some nodding and stuff, and like, well, that would depend on what we're doing. I don't know if we can, if your officers don't mind waiting out until those U-boats arrive, they would definitely be very good at this sort of thing. That could be a couple weeks you're waiting. That would be something you'd have to roll on to basically be like, hey, can we hold up for reinforcements?
Yeah. Like, honestly, if we can get just like some ships or groups to help us, because I said we're mages and we can blow up ship, but we can't do fucking much to like actual ships that might be in port.
Yeah, you have torpedoes, but that's about it. Those are mini torpedoes.
And
those are light stuff.
Yeah, and as I said, even if I equip all my mages with bomb racks, that's only so much we can do.
Right, that's only, I think, that's 6 bombs a guy, and it should be noted that the whole point of the bomb racks is they're basically, for bombs, they're basically oversized grenades with, like, impact triggers, and the torpedoes are, like, tiny little torpedoes. They're for you to take out small shit. And basically he's like, that'll probably be mostly to do. You'll probably mostly have to coordinate with your aviation friends. I think we've got some heavy bombers that have been offloaded recently, so yeah. they'll have the ass you need to take care of anything big.
But as I said, the more support I can get for up this means the more targets we can hit, which means it's easier in the long run.
It's possible, depending on reports of what's in port. If you're gonna be scouting ahead of time, which you're probably talking to someone who might even be like a rank or 2 above you to actually get something done. He's probably like, which I'm assuming you're gonna do because you're not an idiot, Captain. Nope. If you report back to us, if they don't have a lot of action in port, we can probably forward some light cruisers or destroyers to go ahead and deal with it. If they are, unfortunately, if their naval defenses are too strong, there's not much we can do either, and we can't. We'll need escorts to land troops in these ports later. So, but we can put recovery and support vessels in the area if your mages need a place to touch down on. That's pretty easy.
That'd definitely be good. But yeah, I think this calls for maybe a couple weeks and some wait till U-boats and maybe some scouting missions to get some eyes on on targets. We can never go wrong with extra intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Always need to know what you can see on the sea. I'll be with you. And like I said, we'll it's possible that we'll get some either those U-boats come in. They'll be ideal for sabotage work, torpedoes, that sort of things. They'll have mages who'll be armed with radios, so you can talk to them.
So I guess I'll bring this point up with the major.
Otherwise, we'll have to see if it's secure enough to detach a light cruiser to be with you.
Thank you very much.
No problem at all. We'll see you on the field.
Indeed. I'm gonna bring up my points to the major. See if can I make an appeal to actually push back, appeal to push back the mission or more prep time, including scouting missions, whatnot.
Yeah, appeal is argumentation, so that would be to build a cohesive argument. By the way, I say this because both of these are actually things we have stats for. So in the Marshal's Handbook, there are outlines for both U-boats and light cruisers as a heavy vehicle.
Oh.
So you could actually, and there are heavy vehicle customizations too, so you guys could actually, the U-boats would be taken up by other mages mostly, but if you were willing to act sooner, you could probably, like I said, depending on enemy conditions, be allocated a light cruiser as a support unit. If you really wanted to, if you're going whole hog on your delays, you could be like, hey, can we get a seaplane carrier as a mage carrier down here? But that's even further in the future. That would be special order.
No. I'm okay with delaying this maybe a couple weeks while we do scout missions. No. Do some scout missions and wait for the U-boat.
Yeah. So you guys return to your office. Before he gets in his own staff car, the Major General has a moment with his niece and is like, he kind of nods. He speaks to you directly, briefly, which is basically like, Captain, thank you for taking care of my niece and your unit, and also you're a good man for volunteering for dangerous duty. If my office can get you anything you need for this operation, just let me know.
Chris salute. Thank you, Manager General. I'll definitely take that under advisement.
So, you pile in your cars, you go back to base. The Major dismisses your brain trust. She's just like, okay, everybody, go to evening meal. Captains, you're going to join me in my office for dinner. So, you guys pile into the Major's office, and she looks at you, and she's like, Captain, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you have some kind of death wish. However, I'm fairly certain, and that the captain is in agreement with me here, that you are just a madman. A mad lad, if you will.
Looking at my recent exploits, I cannot refute that.
But I understand that this is all the tactical plans we've discussed is what are necessary, so she kind of turns to Brandt, just like, I understand, Captain Brandt, that your men are eager for action, but this may be a better long-term strategic plan. If possible, we'll see if maybe we can allocate some of your forces to the actual landing assaults to take these ports afterwards. Brandt kind of shrugs and is like, it's all the same. Provisional flying squadron is leading, but we'll take second. We understand. We're the anvil, you guys are the hammer. So we'll be here when you need us. And perhaps she kind of gives you the side glance with her one eye, because remember, she's got a wicked cool eye patch. Mm-hmm. And maybe while we're out, we can continue the captain's home improvement projects. The Major kind of just shakes her head at everybody, pops open a desk, pulls out a bottle of something, undoes it, and says, all right, well, tonight, everybody drinks. This is going to be a complex operation. I've already spoken to some of the aviation officers for cooperative training. It sounds like they're going to relocate some of their heavy bombers into our hangars, so you can familiarize with their crews and their operational capabilities. Mm-hmm. I know the Major General said that his office would do anything for this, but obviously, there are limits in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you need to organize in the duties to get this done?
Well, I did speak with the naval detachment. they said those U-boats would be here down in a couple weeks. Honestly, if we're trying to hit a lot of targets, we can use all the support we can. If we delay the operation by the time it gets there, that also gives us ample time. Maybe do some quick scouting missions. Actually, what's the word? Reconnoiter?
Reconnoiter.
The plants, and actually check on their defenses, coastal guns, one of the things we might use, and maybe pinpoint specific targets we can hit, so we don't have to spend so much time in the air. It's like I might be a madman, but I don't intend to fly to my death.
Yeah, they make some small talk like, oh, the captain says he'll do anything, but now he wants to wait. All right, roll your appeal, basically.
Yeah.
Roll your appeal to construct your argument.
Ready.
And basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to make it sound more like a tactical consideration, like, okay, we'll need this long for scouting, we'll need this long to run drills and prep, we'll need probably a week to familiarize ourselves with the aviation units and make sure everybody's working together.
Yeah. It's like you can't throw a whole bunch of things in a pot and expect it to work perfectly.
And then basically, and hey, if it so happens that by the time our pre-mission planning is done that the U-boats have arrived, well, that's just great.
Yeah, that's how I'm spinning it. Check out the shiny metal. I'm right. You see the shiny metal? I did this because I thought outside the fucking box. Alright, let's see. Hacking bonuses plus heal. My exo is not with me.
She can be. She just missed your most of your brain trust, but I'm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I bring my exo. I forget about this.
Your exo spends her time giving you significant looks when the other ladies in the room call you out on your shit. She's just like, mm-hmm.
It's like, I fly with this man. You don't know this bullshit. But, yes, I do have good cop, bad cop when communication, and I perform, sometimes I gain one enter. But... So
she's basically there standing firm and nodding when you say stuff. The implication being that there's no way she'd let you just slack off.
It's true.
There's work to be done. Everybody knows when the exo's on the deck, you're getting work done.
Right. She brooks no slackers, and she tolerates a fool. Oh yeah, math. That's what I was doing. So, charisma, solid, 30, 25, EOS, that's 7 on that. 70, so that's 5 degrees success, plus 1 for canyon. There we go.
Alright.
Yes, DOX.
It's fine. So, yeah, you pitch it to the major, and the major is like, alright, I've received your report of your operational requirements to execute planned Nodens. I will forward these up to the command office and the Major General. I'm sure there will be no objections that you take the time we need to do this right.
Mm-hmm.
As our comrades in the army said, if there's any enemy significant buildup, there will obviously be time ahead of time. And we'll see if reinforcements arrive. By then, nice. Otherwise, you'll be on the timetable when the time is right. She turns to Brandt and says basically, your men may get their wish to get out in the field more, though I don't think they necessarily like it. While our aerial units are performing training and scouting operations on enemy territory, obviously that means they can't be doing air patrols, which means that we'll need your unit to pick up the slack with some ground patrols. But hey, at least maybe they'll get to shoot at something. Brandt kind of acquiesces. She'll take what she can get. They're tired of being cooped up at base anyway. Let them run wild and free. So, is there, you're having a private inn dinner. So, is there anything you want to bring up to the major or other senior staff at the moment?
I don't know. I'm about to say, you coordinate with local villages, you might get some wild animals behind poison. You never know what's out there, and I'll just hook a thumb under my collar to chimera fucking claws and teeth. You never know what surprises.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of quiet nodding and stuff.
That's it. As I said, I know you jokingly call me a madman, but no, it is true. Honestly, no sane man should have gone with this plan.
Well, unfortunately, I think war will make us all insane. I'm sure you were listening when they said that apparently our allies to the north have decided to build some trenches of their own. I'm quite certain that all soldiers here would like to avoid that situation, which unfortunately is that would have to be our only other choice, would be to dig in at our borders and tell them to go away. But we don't have the manpower for attrition warfare.
But that might be one reason why I'm noting.
Brent, pipes up and says, well, I would have preferred Aparticus, but that's only because that would mean that you would go around up north, and then when we make that glorious push inland, that could have been us, but hey.
No worries, Captain. I'm pretty sure once this is done, there's going to be plenty of me just sitting in the sky and watch the rain hellfire on our foes.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, maybe you'll miss something important. We can blow that up. Though, she does turn to the Major, unlike Captain Schmidt here, I will not guarantee any crazy plans. I do unfortunately believe that they don't make mortars large enough for us to blow up any heavy naval targets like the Relentless. The Major kind of nods. Which kind of gives the Major an idea. She kind of turns back to you, Captain, and she's like, also, do be on the lookout if you're going to be flying around for that unit we've met a time or two before. Let's avoid any problems. Hopefully, being on the offensive here with this one will keep them out of sorts for a few runs. Also, about this was not covered in the briefing, but about the other things we've been working on. The U-boats are coming. I've been told that apparently not only members of the strategic, but also members of the development office are becoming interested in our activities down here. It may be possible, we already have several experimental squads. It may be possible they will send further resources down here. Keep your ears out. We'll see if something arrives before we engage in planned Odins. It may all just be talk.
Who knows? But,
By the way, she gives you the look that was like when she's talking about the other stuff you're talking about is like, oh, hey, we may have a demon problem.
Oh, okay, that kind of.
Yeah, that because remember, she told you to keep it quiet, and she would ask some people, and you should ask some people. And you discussed over the holiday that you sent some letters back.
Yeah.
But she's basically telling you that, oh, hey, I've been putting out some feelers. Apparently, members of the research, the War Office's research and development are interested in if we've got anything fun going on down here. So maybe they'll send something.
Oh, honestly, now I got my head full of fucking training schedules, armament buildup, and hacking.
Yeah, so y'all
scouting.
Gonna have to assault the port. Let's see. Let's give you a little bit to get started on. This was a little bit of a limited session, but you did some personal tasks and you won some arguments. We'll call it a 200 XP day.
Okay.
Solid.
100 XP for companions. So if you need to buy any skills, everybody knows athletics, right? Everybody knows how to swim.
Yes.
Good.
Unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna get fucking. It'd be a fun day to switch over to be sub mages, but not today.
No. Though, hey, just word of advice: if anybody does end up going down and nobody gets rescue hooked, you want to land in the water. That's gonna be a lot harder for them to catch you than if you landed in somebody's, fucking foyer. Because this is gonna be your first real, other than the port defense. This is gonna be your first real urban combat. You're gonna be engaging overpopulated areas. You're gonna be doing so with bombs, and obviously we talked about this with Customs of War, but you're supposed to make effort to make sure you're hitting legitimate military targets. But everybody knows how that goes. Again,
this is why I want time to fucking scout.
Mm-hmm. And so I think next session we probably won't set up a mission. I'll let you guys basically do scouting for intel. There's no need to make that to formally roll all that. I'll figure it out. And maybe I'll go ahead and set up the battlefield choices.
Well, as I said, if Grimm's brands are pulling duty for us, I'm literally gonna grab from my scouts the fastest, sneakiest fucker.
You have.
Can I requisition some custom units for them, at least for temporarily?
Honestly, they probably have. You guys have high tech stuff. Your whole unit has custom shit at this point.
Exactly.
So you are an experimental unit. You're flying corps. This is one of the first times they've organized air mages this large as a cohesive unit to do stuff. You're aerial assault
that's
unit.
what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna basically take my sneakiest and fastest guys. I'm gonna send them up the fucking close enemy scouts with cameras. with cameras.
Yeah, cameras, telescopes, pads. You're gonna get that one guy who sketches.
Yeah. Send them to basically to, like, I don't know, like, well, basically as far as they can fucking get, they can safely get. I'll set them up with, like, extra fucking cores, too, so in case they have to literally go oversea.
And basically, like, the strategic plan, which you probably has been circulated to your offices by now, has basically got a list of, like, the ports in order. We're going to start at the closest one, then we're going to the next, and the next, etc.
Yeah. So doing that, I said, we're going to wait for the guys to get here. We're going to start training again.
Mm-hmm. So next session will be, you'll probably send out those scouts and you'll get some reports back. You'll get to meet the aviators and kind of see what they're working with, so you can familiarize yourself with some of that stuff. If it comes to it, I will tell you now, you're probably not going to, if you get the U-boats, you're probably not going to have a lot of control over those.
Oh, no.
They're going to be fully staffed with mages, but you can look at those in the Marshal's Guide. Those will have the full things. They have 6 torpedoes each. They're aquatic. They're submersible. Unfortunately for you, they're not mine layers. They're going to have the Parasite Mages version. So they've basically got a special cargo compartment for mages where each holds 6 guys with some units.
Well, like honestly, I want the mages just in case there are ships that we're gonna run. Because again, if there are ships,
they're using real torpedoes. So.
Yeah, if there's actual ships there, which I kind of like 5 ports, like I'm assuming there's gonna be like 3 to 5 ports.
Yeah, there's going to be several missions in a row. I'll say this, like, my intent is that the first 1 or 2 are probably going to be fairly simple. I will randomly roll the conditions and stuff, and we'll see, is there, like, did they put a lot of anti-air in this port? Maybe they put some sea mines out there to, like, guard their approaches or something. We'll see. You're probably not looking at a lot. You're looking at a normal number of ships in port, anybody who's refueling. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to be over-defensed. By the time you get to mission number 3 or 4, we're going to be like, they're going to be parking destroyers with flat guns in port ready to shoot at you. They're going to have searchlights going. They'll probably have started blocking out the ports at night so nobody can see anything.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff. By the way, the natural way for you to handle this mission would be to do everything at night, but if you want to do it different, you can say. It's just...
Oh, no, I said we're going to be madmen, and we're going to fucking switch it up.
Right. That means that you guys will be more, well, your bomber, anyway, that your escort will be more visible.
Yeah.
And also, you can basically pick, you'll be detached, like I said, I'm thinking probably like 3 heavy bombers tops, if you want to switch that up and take maybe some fighters or interceptors or some light bombers. You can switch that up and get more, and you can decide basically, is it going to be your job to mostly mark the targets and the bombers hit them, or, which means you may have to make several passes, or, like, are you guys going to do the heavy lifting and hit the targets, which means you guys might have to make more passes. You might have to dedicate more troops to bombing, but you can hold those heavy bombers in reserve for, like, priority targets, like, oh shit, there's a battleship in port right now, and they're really angry at me. Maybe we should blow them up and get them to knock off.
So that's what I'm kind of thinking. It's going to be a combined unit. As I said, our bombs will probably like get through building fairly easy, so we can hit supplies, fuel, ammo, all that stuff.
What's the default of the actual bomb rack? Let me look at the stats. Bomb rack. So the bomb rack is to ground range because they're impact triggers. They're only blast 4, but they are anti-material, so they do full damage to vehicles and structures. 2d10 flat. You guys have a lot, so, passes will take out most buildings.
Yeah. My main concern is, right now, fueling and, my guys. I don't think no one has mastered, sleeping, in a mobility yet.
No, so it's usually a thing you need to be conscious for.
Yeah. So, as I said, if we're literally going from port to port to port, I don't know, like, how long they expect us.
No, it'll probably not be literally port to port. It'll be like port and come back, and then the next day you gotta fly longer and farther, and then still do an effective mission.
Oh, okay.
It's still gonna be an endurance run, but it's not all at once. They're like, no, obviously you guys need to fuel up, so.
Okay.
And if you get farther inland, they may, like after you knock out a couple of these, and they've actually pulled back, they may actually start taking the ports behind you, so you don't have to retreat as far, basically. Mm-hmm. But that will kind of
this is gonna give the enemy time to fucking fort up.
Yeah, because you guys are gonna have to basically return to base for ammo and stuff. Because No, they're not crazy enough to be like, oh yeah, and we need you to fuck about in South Africa and then keep going. Like, no, you have to come back for more fuel and ammo.
I don't know. Well, as I said, this might be my madman coming out, but I could probably send back most people, but I could still send a small strike squad.
Oh, I mean, like, yeah, if you've got some guys who are tough and you don't mind,
and we could like pull a long mission. It's like, and I might ask for volunteers for this, but as I said, this is me being a fucking, as I said, madman.
You can totally shenanigans some people.
We can, after we do our main strike, we can take a small group to go ahead to the next one, hit some preliminary targets, just enough to basically throw them into a little bit of chaos, so that when we come back with the main bomber, maybe things aren't quite as kosher as it is.
Uh-huh.
That means, though, we would have to probably like bring some extra supplies with us per run.
Well, hey, this is going to be your whole squadron's going, basically, or your whole
so
squadron's
basically,
in the mix,
if I bring the recovery squad and be like, all right, once we get done with this, give us like top us off. We're going on ahead. You all go back, and then we'll do this again.
In the conflict, your recovery team will probably be mostly be like, okay, fish out anybody who goes down because we can't leave anybody behind in enemy territory.
Hell no.
You'll be able to do basically flying maintenance on any bombers because, I mean, that's what they can do. God forbid you lose a bomber, they can pull the bomber crews out. Otherwise, they don't have anything to do if there's no field medicine to be done than just carry back. So supplies.
That's what we'll do. We'll have them bring extra reloads and whatnot. So basically, once we get done taking the port and everyone's about to head back, I'll take a small strike squad ahead to the next port, and we'll hit that to basically get some preliminary damage done. So then we come back the next day. Yeah, again, it's like if we're doing high risk, we're going all the fucking way.
Sure.
This is gonna just gonna cut into our sleep time, so we're gonna be dealing with fatigue.
Sure.
So we're gonna need fucking. Maybe we won't do it for every port. We probably won't do it for every port. Like if you said if the first couple ones will get the element of supplies, we're not gonna do it then. But once we start hitting the harder one, we're gonna it's gonna be escalation.
Yeah, basically you have until the enemy figures out that you're establishing a pattern. One strike is just, well, we're hammering them navally, so of course they counterattacked. Two strikes is like, hey, wait a minute. If you're doing a third, by the time you get to that third one, they're like, okay, we need to make sure they stop doing this. Oh shit, they're doing it again. And then, like I said, by the time you get to 4 or 5, assuming there's even that many missions, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, if they want to pull this shit again, they're gonna have to bring it. We're gonna be ready.
Yeah.
And then that's so probably the point. Once they say we're gonna put all in on this, that's when your guys are like, haha, we were waiting for this. We knew you would do that. You activated our trap card, and they're gonna start rolling troop ships up and guys on strikers up the coast. Because the enemy won't be reconcentrating resources on repairing those ports if they're still getting hit. Yeah. That also means, by the way, you can't take too long between operations because then they can relax and start repairs.
Yeah, no, I know. So this is gonna be rapid fire. So again, there's gonna be a lot of fatigue and stuff. So that's why I said, everyone's going in on the regular mission, but for the strike missions, it's gonna be a volunteer basis.
That'll be your real commando shit.
Yeah.
Long distance.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ulrich, you don't get him. Ulrich, unfortunately, I'm volunteering you.
I don't
he'd volunteer anyway.
He just volunteer anyway.
Although I like,
I know.
Why not? I'm falling into the thick and thin of things.
We're at about 2:45, so I want to wrap up the recording real quick. I'll just say, everybody, hey, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that. It keeps us going. And we'll see you guys in the next one. And I'll cut it off.
I'm excited.